Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host. The y'all mean the revolution, and Jay-Z fell for the 52 fate. He went for it. Before we get into this information, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Well, it's all bad news for the Black Boule. Jay-Z, are you impersonating Texas officials? Now, that don't look good. Roll up that good dinner, man. Salute, family.
Y'all, Tony Buzbee is back in action. He put his margarita down. He was refreshed from his vacation. He is now suing Rock Nation, Quinn Emanuel, one of the biggest law firms in New York, and Alex Spiro's law firm, and also Marcy Croft for obstruction of justice, but more importantly, imitating a public official and violating various state laws. Y'all, this is heating up. I know, listen, I have my doubts about Buzbee, but he is getting it in. Listen to the statement he posted because it is a lot. I hope you sitting down. Today, the Buzbee law firm filed suit against Rock Nation and lawyers from Marcy Croft.
I don't know who people thought Jay-Z and no, that man sued BP, bro. This Texas, BP is big. That man sued BP and won, took them on. You think BP didn't play tough and play dirty? Man, Tony Buzbee is not worried about Jay-Z and none of his lawyers. He set a trap for Jay-Z, and being a nigga who think he too smart for his own good, he fell for it.
Croft and Quinn Emanuel for violations of various state laws, including barratry. Is that supposed to be battery? I'm gonna have to Google that. Barratry. We're gonna Google it. And impersonation of public officials. The case was brought on behalf of a former client of the firm who was illegally solicited by agents working on behalf.
Revolutionary salute to my brother Roscoe for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love. Family salute to you, Grand Rising.
Of the defendants. These agents pretended to be working for the state of Texas and offered the former client money to sue Buzbee law firm. This illegal conduct has happened more than 24 times to date and has resulted in 2 utterly frivolous cases against the firm. The lawsuit filed today alleges that the defendant's conspiracy is intended to obstruct justice and prevent the Buzbee law firm from pursuing cases where.
If Jay-Z is so innocent, why is he trying to pay people? That's what the court documents are saying that Tony Buzbee is suing them. Why are you paying people? Why are you acting like Texas officials? Why are you trying to muddy the waters? If Jay-Z is so innocent, wouldn't he just sit back and let his innocence speak for itself? I mean, you innocent, bro. You don't have to pay people to lie. You don't have to muddy the waters. When you're doing that, you're trying to place reasonable doubt in people's head. Nobody's stupid. Now everybody paying attention. And he didn't do himself no favors. A lot of people, when we get in these videos, a lot of people were saying Jay was innocent. Hell no, he didn't do nothing with that 13-year-old. Now people like, it's past that 13-year-old. Bro, what you really trying to hide? That may have been some boo. That 13, I'm starting to think the whole 13-year-old is a Jay-Z and Puffy probably paid people to come out and lie and say they did discuss this shit. Now, when that's proven to be wrong, they can say, see, how can y'all believe anything these people said? A lot of these people coming out may be people that they paid to say certain shit. But what Jay don't understand is these lawyers set traps for you too, bro. And he made a terrible mistake.
Related to the Diddy litigation in New York. The conduct isn't just alleged. It was caught on tape. Defendant Marcy Croft, who describes herself on social media as part of Team Rock, is orchestrating the conspiracy along with assistance from defendant Quinn Emanuel. As you can see from the screenshot, Croft, Quinn Emanuel, and Rock Nation have a long working history. The suit alleges defendant Rock Nation is financing the illegal effort Yo, this is huge. If he can prove even a fraction of this,
is huge.
Yo, they literally,
because it don't make sense. We reasonable people in here. It don't make sense, bro. If you innocent, why are you doing this bullshit? Why are you putting your legal team in jeopardy? Now they could be sanctioned for pretending like they Texas officials. What the hell are you doing this for, bro? If you so innocent and don't have nothing to do with what Diddy was doing, come on, man. Y'all all know why.
A bear. If any of this is true, Plus, since it was over state lines, he can bring this up in Texas. Tony, Alex Sparrow may run New York and Los Angeles. Tony Buzbee runs Texas.
Home court for him.
You know? As set forth in the lawsuit earlier this week, agents acting on Cross behalf again were caught on tape soliciting and offering money up to $10,000 to former clients of the Buzbee law firm to convince them to file a frivolous case against the Buzbee law firm. These folks have now stooped to a new low.
Filing frivolous cases, especially when you know they frivolous, that's illegal.
To try and intimidate the lawyers of the Buzbee law firm? These folks have stooped to a new low to try and intimidate the lawyers of the Buzbee law firm from doing their important work. They now are contacting clients and former clients and actually offering the money to sue me.
This nigga dirty, man. What you hiding, ho?
This conduct was specifically targeted at my firm as we would not pursue cases related to the Diddy litigation. Let me be clear. We will not be bullied or intimidated. The defendants this time overstepped, got sloppy, and stupidly caught at their illegal scheme on tape. We have reported this conduct to the authorities and intend to cooperate with the authorities to ensure all involved are prosecuted to the full extent under Texas law. Y'all, this is huge. And this is the thing. Quinn Emanuel and Alex Sparrow kept pushing for everything to be litigated in a public manner and also in the state of New York and in federal court in New York. No, not so fast. Buzbee seems to have got them. If what he is alleging in this lawsuit is true, and also remember how they were like, if this happened, you should report it to the authorities. Wouldn't you say? Tony said, yeah, I would say that. And guess what? I did report it to the authorities. You have overstepped. You have gotten sloppy. Y'all, is this why Tony Buzbee was being so quiet? Is this why Tony Buzbee was literally on vacation? Yo, I feel like I'm in an episode of Memento. I'm literally backtracking on.
And that man broke BP. And brought BP to their knees. Who the fuck is Jay-Z compared to British Petroleum, man? That man took on BP and won. Jay-Z don't got shit on BP, bro.
Everything we thought was happening, crafted by the narrative that Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Sparrow, put out. Remember when Tony Buzbee was sitting there on vacation? And I was like, Buzbee, they destroying your client. What you doing? And he literally posted on his Instagram stories, him chilling in Mexico in a private dining area being set.
I'm gonna tell you a big mistake Jay-Z made when he brought up the Marines. When he brought up, you say you're a Marine, but you overstepped your bounds, bro. Now they really gonna hang your ass out to dry. You not no Marine. You shouldn't be bringing them up. That was disrespectful to Marines. Like, that ain't your business, boy. That man been to war and stood on business. You rapper. So you brought up honor and valor. They definitely gonna get you. Tony definitely gonna get your ass now. It's about honor.
Serenaded by mariachi singers singing New York to New York. Start spreading the news. He said, I want to. But he literally was belting it out with them. This is why. Because he already knew he had something for their ASSs. He already knew. You think you're going to drag me? Guess what? We're going toe to toe. You guys, it cannot be understated how bad this is for Quinn Emanuel. And it is going to be tried in a jurisdiction where they don't run the town.
Did it to himself.
Tony Buzbee is saying he's about to show these big city lawyers what it do down in Texas. Y'all, this is huge. Again, he even posted a screenshot.
You don't want the Yankees down here.
She said, amazing work. We're proud to be a small part of this great team. Thank you, Rock Nation and Team Rock, for all that you do. Y'all, he has the motive. He has their opportunity. And he has put them at the scene of the crime.
He played
Tony Buzbee. Yo, now this is a Wednesday surprise. And this is something no one saw coming. And this is something
I thought this man was innocent.
He cannot. They cannot deny at all. Yo, this is bad. This is bad. Yo. Ooh, they overstepped. Yes, they got
something. And they starting to look at him losing his endorsement. Now, we're not here to, because if you're disgusting punk, you deserve it. So, if they take his money, we don't give a damn. Jay-Z ain't been helping the black community. I'm not one of the people who be like, man, y'all just want to see a black man fall. You disgusting bootleg. I don't give a damn about you and what happened to you. You is the wrong image for the children. The kids must know that was fool's gold. These niggas turn their back on us behind monopoly money. Now we get to sit back and have a good laugh.
Sloppy. And Tony Buzbee. What y'all think about this? What do y'all think about this? Let me tell you something. One important thing that everybody's overlooking is in the Diddy case. When everybody says, how could a Diddy gotten away with this 4 years? How could this? How could that? You know that they said that they went to the authorities. A lot of people said, but the authorities kept saying, oh, we can't prosecute. We don't got enough information. I'm sorry. This is one of the things that the federal prosecutors have been alleged to be looking at. Okay, so what does that mean? When you are a lawyer and a high-priced lawyer, you are not just paid for the job that you do. Yes, you can be super, super skilled, but you are not just paid for the job that you do. You are also paid, okay? You are also paid for your connections, who you know, what you do, and so forth. Okay? It appears that these connections are coming home to roost. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to go live later on to talk about this. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is groundbreaking. I'll be live.
Oh yeah, this is groundbreaking because the man played himself. No innocent. If you're so innocent, you don't do shit like that, bro. You innocent, man. You know what I'm saying? You an innocent man. You don't have to be hiring people to lie, and you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, be impersonating officials. You innocent, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you're innocent. You said you were innocent. And then you try to muddy the waters so you can, muddy the jury that could be coming for your ass. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this ready. Because this man was so smart, so intelligent. Nah, that's because he don't say much. Y'all think he's so smart. See, if a man don't say nothing, you just good. Oh, that man is Einstein. Oh, the fuck told you that, nigga? Man, Jay-Z is a wizard, man. Oh, yeah? Oh, really?
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
We got to. Can't stop, won't stop should be Tony Buzbee's phrase because he is unleashing the beast on Jay-Z and his Roc Nation team. Today, the Buzbee law firm has filed lawsuits against Roc Nation's lawyers, Marcy Croft and Quinn Emanuel, alleging violations of various state laws, including barratry and impersonating a public official. Now, the Buzbee law firm is stating that this lawsuit was filed on behalf of a former client who was illegally solicited by agents working for the defendants. These agents pretended to be from the state of Texas, offered the former client money to sue the Buzbee law firm. This illegal conduct has reportedly occurred over 24 times and has led to 2 frivolous lawsuits against the firm. The suit claims that the defendants are part of a conspiracy aimed at obstructing justice and preventing the law firm from pursuing the involvement in the Diddy litigation in New York. The actions were caught on tape, providing clear evidence of wrongdoing. Now, Marcy Croft, who identified as part of Team Roc, is accused of orchestrating the scheme with the help of Quinn Emanuel, who is one of the attorneys representing Jay-Z, while Roc Nation is allegedly financing the illegal activities. Now, the lawsuit details a recent incident in which agents acting on Croft's behalf were again caught offering money up to $10,000 to persuade former clients of the Buzbee law firm to file a baseless lawsuit against them. The Buzbee law firm has made it clear that they will not be intimidated by these tactics, which they believe were aimed at hindering their legal work, particularly relating to the Diddy litigation. Now, the firm has reported the conduct to authorities and plan to cooperate with prosecution of those involved under Texas law. Now, y'all already know we got the transcripts over here, so we're going to read them and find out exactly what happened. But before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. This 30-plus year friendship that Jay-Z alleges never happened has been the focal point of today's news.
The hits. This is extended family. You've been there with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother. It's B.I.G's brother. Yes, sir. It's Brooklyn's own Brooklyn.
I mean, Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. You go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction.
This, quote, friendship is probably costing Jay-Z a lot of sleepless nights, given the fact that he's now being listed in some of the same lawsuits as his friend Diddy. Jay-Z's war with attorney Tony Buzbee is kicking it up another notch. The controversial attorney just filed a lawsuit claiming Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, and his high-powered attorneys are conspiring to turn Buzbee's clients against him. Took me a little minute to find these docs, so let's go ahead and cue the Inspector Chronicle music. Inspector Chronicle. So let's get into the facts of the case. On behalf of two clients, not one but two, Tony Buzbee and the Buzbee law firm sent demand letters to Sean Jay-Z Carter's attorneys in New York. The letters made no monetary demand. They only sought a confidential sit-down to discuss the client's allegations. In response to the two letters, defendant Quinn Emanuel filed suit against the Buzbee law firm. The suit alleged that the firm was trying to extort Sean Jay-Z Carter. The lawsuit was and is frivolous and will be dismissed. Several weeks later, the Buzbee law firm, on behalf of one of the clients who sent a demand letter, filed a lawsuit against Mr. Carter. At or around that time, defendant's conspiracy began. As part of the conspiracy, current and former clients of the Buzbee law firm began receiving solicitations from investigators asking current and former clients to sue the firm. The investigators used burner phones. Many times the investigators used fake names or flash badges or credentials, but would not let the clients see them. During some of the contacts, the investigators were pushy, and in at least two, they pretended to be acting on behalf of the state of Texas. Several of these calls were caught on either camera or tape. In each instance, the investigators were careful not to disclose on whose behalf they were working. For good reason, the defense...
And they saying that they can... Tony Buzbee saying he got evidence that Jay-Z's people paid for private investigators to help Diddy also. He say he got that evidence.
Defendants in this case did not want to disclose their participation in the flagrant violations of Texas law. Indeed, these defendants openly and brazenly violated Texas criminal laws dozens of times. One such target of defendant solicitation was plaintiff Gerardo Garcia. Mr. Garcia is a resident of Harris County. He was injured in a Jones Act lawsuit and hired by the Buzbee law firm to represent him. His case was settled in 2020. He was happy with the resolution of his case and had no complaints with the Buzbee law firm. Nearly 5 years after his case was resolved, not seeking to hire a lawyer or file a lawsuit, Mr. Garcia was contacted out of the blue by two investigators. This contact was an illegal solicitation and was made on behalf of and as part of a conspiracy involving defendants Croft, Roc Nation, and Quinn Emanuel. One of these investigators identified herself as Jessica Santiago. These two investigators approached Mr. Garcia at his home and flashed a badge. They told plaintiff Garcia several times that they were from the state. They asked Mr. Garcia if he was unhappy with his settlement from 2020 and whether they could see his settlement documents. They were pushy. They followed this up by explaining to him that they were with the state but could not connect him with a private lawyer so he could sue the Buzbee law firm. They told Garcia several times that there is money in this for you. These investigators' requests became increasingly aggressive and hostile. At some point, defendant's agents demanded Mr. Garcia produce his medical records and offered him money to hire the private lawyer to sue the Buzbee law firm. Mr. Garcia decided to call the Buzbee law firm and report the conduct. Despite her best efforts in disguising the identities of those she was working for, investigator Jessica Santiago was caught on tape disclosing to Mr. Garcia that she was working for an attorney named Marcy Croft at the law firm of MJ Legal PA. Defendant Marcy Croft is an attorney in Jackson, Mississippi. Defendant MJ Legal is the law firm Ms. Croft reportedly owns. Ms. Croft advertises herself as a member of Team Rock. Moreover, Ms. Croft advertises that she has become actively involved with criminal justice reform and prison reform alongside Rock Nation's philanthropic arm, Team Rock. She further advertises herself as being involved in the numerous litigation actions pending on behalf of Team Rock, families, and hundreds of incarcerated men. Marcy Croft has worked with Rock Nation for years alongside Quinn Emanuel's Alex Spiro. Spiro and Quinn Emanuel are currently opposing the Buzbee law firm in at least 2 cases. So let's get into the transcript between Gerardo Garcia and Jessica Santiago. Jessica says, "Do you have time today so we can have an appointment to talk and show you the papers? You can communicate with the lawyer." He says yes. She says, "What time?" He says, "Look, at 5 p.m. One thing, if I sign that contract, is there some money that you will pay me first?" She says, "Depends on the lawyer, but what you will sign today is only a contract to investigate, giving permission to the lawyer to conduct an investigation into your case to see what happened, to recommend a separate lawyer more familiar with your kind of case, but she will not charge anything. And the separate lawyer also does not require any money. Only at the consultation do they take out their fee if they are able to recover the money you're entitled to." He says that lawyer is from the state of a private lawyer. She says, "It's a private lawyer. We are from the state, but it's a private lawyer that knows what the Buzbee law firm was doing. For example, last night, someone signed up with us, and in his case, Buzbee was depositing his checks in Buzbee's private account and not in the account for lawyers. And he was charging the interest and taking that money. And he was stealing the checks from insurance. And so he didn't know that Buzbee was stealing. That was his case. Now, I don't know much about your case, but the lawyer you will speak with today, she will explain that she will open your case, see what happened with you, but your name appeared on the list of many people that have something unusual, and she wants to investigate your case, and then she will recommend someone more familiar in your kind of case to recover all that money." He said, "And they are from the state?" The lawyer is from here, Texas, and also has a license in New York. Us, the investigators, are from the state, but we are not lawyers. But the lawyers has her license here in Texas and also in New York. He said that class action is just for certain people who have had cases with the lawyer. She says, "Exactly, with that lawyer. We have 70 people in the class action that had problems because they are frauds with that lawyer, Buzbee. Last night, the man who we spoke with, he has 2 cases because Buzbee was putting his checks in the private checking account. That's a criminal case. But he also has a separate case where he can recover the fees that Buzbee owes him. So he has 2 cases. We didn't know that until the lawyer last explained and told him, no, you have 2 cases, one criminal and another to recover your money. Now, we don't know about your case because the lawyer first needs to open your case and investigate what happened with you. So it's possible you have 2 cases as well, depending on what Buzbee, did to you." He says, "And so if I sign, there's money, right?" She says, "There's money that will be recovered, of course, the money that you are owed, and you will not need to go to court because there are lots of people in the class action, more than 70 who have signed up with this lawyer." He says, "What's the process to look at some of the documents first, or do I need to go with a lawyer?" She says, No. She will be your lawyer. That's why we are asking for the documents that you have. If you do not have any, she can still do the search, and she will read your case that you had with Buzbee, and she will look into everything that happened. But it's better if you have the documents too." He says, "No, well, I lost all my documentation. This happened a long time ago, so I wouldn't have the documents now. But do I need to go to a lawyer's office, or will you come to my house?" She says, "I will send you a paper that explains where the lawyer is. It will explain everything in that paper. You can read it, then I can contact the lawyer. Her name is Marcy Croft from MJ Legal. She will explain more by telephone. The document will explain what I told you now over the phone, and you will have your copy. It's just an agreement so she can investigate more your case to see if there is something unusual, and if so, she will recommend someone more familiar with your case, because you know there are many lawyers, but she will recommend someone who is more known with this case, like from last night." He says, "Will you charge me anything?" She says, "No, nothing. The lawyer will have your case. Yes, of course, like always. They always charge a fee. Normally, the lawyers charge 30%. Whichever lawyer you will go with will charge you, yes, but the lawyer will not charge anything at first. She works with us in fraud cases, and then she will recommend someone more familiar. Then at the conclusion of the case, they will charge their part, also pay you your part part as well. He says, those papers, can you just leave them at my house, or do you want me to go to the office? He says, no, that's why I'm asking what time you will be home, so we can show you the paper and explain, and we will speak with the lawyer. He says, so the agreement, I can see it? She says, the agreement, yes. He says, and so this is a class action, a lawsuit of many people. She says, exactly. We have like 70 people that are in the class action, and there will be more. You are on the list, but we have other people too. Today, I'm visiting with you and with 3 more people who will sign up to be in the lawsuit, and it will increase daily. We have more pages with people. I don't know how many, but there are many. If there are more people in the class action, that is better for you because that means you will collect something. He says, what kind of percentage can I collect with this, or what can I? She says, that depends on your case because all the cases are different. The document I will show you today explains that it gives permission to open your case and to see what happened, but she will not charge anything for that. But then she will recommend someone familiar. He says, sorry to interrupt you. The lawyer will be present today or just you? She says, me and my partner, but she is working now. But she told me we can contact her at any time. He says, 5:30 is fine. She says, yes, 5:30 is fine. He says, any change and we will call each other, true? And what is the name of the lawyer, pardon? She says, Marcy Croft. He says, okay. She says, from MJ Legal. He says, okay, so. She says, I will give you a copy and you can read it. Good. And you can call her too with us present and she can explain it better. He says, and what is your name? She says, my name is Jessica. He says, Jessica? Just Jessica? She says, no, Jessica Santiago. He says, okay, Andale. So I will look at everything at 5:30 and we will be in contact. Very kind of you. Thank you. There were several other instances where the investigators were a lot more pushy. We're not going to get into each and every one, but it does seem like the Roc Nation's team might have been caught with their pants down. I would need a legal eagle to tell me what you think about this situation. It does seem like Jay-Z's team is fighting extra hard to prove his innocence, and his innocence should be able to speak for itself, especially considering there were so many inconsistencies in the victim's statement. There's another lawsuit pending with Jay-Z, so we're going to have to see what that one's talking about, child. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on with Jay-Z, Roc Nation, Miss Marcy, baby? Leave a comment.
Nah, he's trying to muddy the waters. Nigga got caught. He done opened up Pandora's box. Playing stupid. Now the great state of Texas want to know why is y'all impersonating Texas officials, bro. That's illegal. Criminalistic.
Say it ain't so, guys. Say it ain't so. Buzbee has filed a lawsuit. He has responded. He is coming for Roc Nation. He's coming for a specific person called Mary, Croft, who's part of Roc Nation, and is saying that this is not alleged, that he has damning evidence. Hey guys, that's Marital, daily and consistent content, and let's get straight into this video. So Buzbee. Buzzing around, Mr. Buzbee, this man. Today, the Buzbee law firm, he is stating on his Instagram, has
revolutionary salute to Va for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Appreciate the love, family. Salute to you.
Filed a suit against Roc Nation and lawyers Marcy Croft and Quinn Emanuel, which is the law firm that represents Jay-Z, for violation of various state laws, including barratry and impersonation of a public official. The case was brought on behalf of a former client of the firm who was illegally solicited by agents working on behalf of the defendant. These agents pretending to work for the state of Texas and offered the former client money to sue the Buzbee law firm. This illegal conduct has happened more than 24 times to date and has resulted in 2 utterly frivolous cases against the firm. The lawsuit filed today alleges that the defendant's conspiracy is intended to obstruct justice and prevent the Buzbee law firm from pursuing cases relating to the Diddy litigation in New York. The conduct isn't just alleged, it was caught on tape. Defendant Marcy Croft, who describes herself on social media as part of Team Roc, is orchestrating the conspiracy along with assistance from defendant Quinn Emanuel. As you can see from the screenshot, Croft, Quinn Emanuel, and Roc Nation have a long working history. The suit alleges defendant Roc Nation is financing the entire illegal effort. As set forth in the lawsuit early this week, agents acting on Croft's behalf again were caught on tape, soliciting and offering money up to $10,000 to former clients of the Buzbee law firm to convince them to file a frivolous case against the Buzbee law firm. These folks have now stooped to a new low to try to intimidate the lawyers of the Buzbee law firm from doing their important work. They are now contacting clients and former clients and actually offering them money to sue me. This conduct was specifically targeted at our firm, so we could not pursue cases related to the Diddy stuff. Let me be clear, we will not be bullied or intimidated. The defendants this time overstepped, got sloppy, and stupidly got caught at their illegal scheme on tape. We have reported this conduct to the authorities and intend to cooperate with the authorities to ensure all involved are prosecuted to the full extent allowed under Texas law. So things are getting ugly and messy, just as I predicted it, guys. Tony Buzbee has officially responded and is coming for Jay-Z, Rock Nation, and Miss Croft as well, and filing a lawsuit against them, saying that they don't just have conspiracy theories or that they don't just have a motive to file a lawsuit. They have tapes. There are tapes of these people pretending to act as a state of Texas law and, of course, you know, scare people into suing Tony Buzbee and making sure that if they sue Tony Buzbee, that Tony Buzbee will be limited in coming for P. Diddy. And so, therefore, they have found these tapes, found this form of evidence, they've submitted it to authorities, and things are going to get messy with this lawsuit. Now, I don't know what this means. This could all just be all talk. But again, Tony Buzbee is saying with his absolute chest that he has evidence. The man has evidence. The man has tapes. The man has conversations of people within this firm. And this is what I say. It all comes down to corruption, which is what I feel like Rock Nation is. Very corrupt alongside the law firms or people that they work with to try and get the things that they want. And I feel like P. Diddy is the same. When he was running Bad Boy Records, corruption everywhere for financial, you know, advantage. And I feel like this is how a lot of these people become billionaires. You can't become a billionaire and amass such amount of wealth without corruption, whether you are, you know,
just dumb. Tell y'all know some people, they so smart they dumb. They should have knew when you didn't. Now people gonna be wondering, what are y'all hiding? Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to muddy the waters? Why are you trying to pay investigators to help P. Diddy? Also, that's what y'all ass was caught doing. Huh? Why are you questioning social media accounts about who's going after P. Diddy? Why is it in your business? Huh? I thought you weren't friends with P. Diddy.
Anybody that is a billionaire, whether you're likable or not likable. And so, you know, for the fact that corruption is one of the reasons for our lawsuit has been filed is not surprising to me, because after Tony Buzbee came for P. Diddy, in that conference, after Tony Buzbee announced, okay, look, Jay-Z is going to be attached to this, all of these lawsuits against Tony Buzbee was coming out about what he did to a woman or how he was mishandling funds and how he was basically scamming. All of this stuff came out against him. And of course, Tony said that his daughter was contacted and etc. All of this shady stuff. And I've always said that I don't count that against Tony. But I was frustrated with Tony with the inconsistencies in that particular case and the fact that he admitted himself that he did not vet that client. Now, that is a whole different lawsuit, because these particular lawsuits that he just filed are completely separate and completely unrelated to that. So however he's obtained these tapes, that's a big one-up for Tony Buzbee against Rock Nation and against Jay-Z. Right now, it's not looking good for Jay-Z right now, because one minute you have completely abandoned your relationship with P. Diddy, leading so many people on your side to turn against you and say that you've got something to hide in this very odd statement. And then number two, we then obviously have Tony Buzbee responding in this way. Now, what would be a saving grace for Alex Spiro and for Jay-Z is that for the Judge Torres to come out of nowhere and say that this case, inconsistencies, has been dismissed. That is a big win for Jay-Z if he does that, because if that takes place, he's then going to come for Tony Buzbee and file a defamation lawsuit and, you know, completely come for Tony Buzbee and his law firm. But Tony obviously hit back and say, I've got tapes of your people pretending to be somebody else, which is completely illegal, in order for you to obtain evidence, in order for you to obtain corruption, in order for you to find people to come against me, to mess up everything else that we're trying to do against P. Diddy. That in itself is...
Imagine that. Now, I overlooked that. Imagine Jay-Z's people were asking Tony Buzbee clients for their evidence. We're going to represent you. Just send us the evidence that you got and let us look over it. Why do Jay-Z's people want to see the dirt on P. Diddy? What's going on? What you want to look over the dirt for? You want to see how much really can stick to yourself? Guilty people. Innocent people don't do this. I mean, first of all, you say you're not friends with P. Diddy. You shouldn't want to see the evidence against him through your private investigators. Second of all, you didn't have nothing to do with it. What's going on here, Hov? Ty, everybody know what's going on here.
the definition of corruption. And if these tapes are genuine and real in this lawsuit that Tony Buzbee has, which I really hope it is, because I feel like sometimes Tony just talks to talk, and it's like, bro, like, I really hope you have these tapes and you really submitted this evidence and etc., because that means that Roc Nation, Alex Spiro, Jay-Z, Miss Croft, all of these people are in major trouble, because it damages their credibility, their integrity, not for us as the audience, because it doesn't matter what we think. It matters what the judge thinks. And if Judge Torres can see that Quinn Emanuel as a law firm are pretending to and impersonate other people in order to come against Tony Buzbee in other ways outside of these lawsuits, that is extremely illegal. In any state, in any country, that is extremely illegal. And if they have tapes, not one, but multiple of this, and they've submitted this to the judge, and they've submitted this to the authorities, sorry, not the judge will obviously oversee that. And this, of course, will definitely impact any level of dismissal that might take place or might not take place in regards to this Jay-Z lawsuit. Because if Jay-Z, Roc Nation, Alex Spiro are finding people to impersonate people, what makes you think there isn't any form of corruption from their side in regards to this case that they want dismissed easily? And so the two can easily be intertwined from while the judge might see it. And so things just aren't looking good for him. I did say that I was very intrigued to see what Tony Buzbee would say. I want to know what this man is going to say, what his response is going to be for what Alex Spiro is saying, and etc. And here he is. Here is the response. Now, today's a big day, guys. Today is a really big day. Like, I wasn't meant to be filming right now, for example. It's not the filming schedule time, but so much is happening. There is a P. Diddy hearing that is also about to happen as well, and there's a lot going on with him. So rest assured that will be covered. His hearing, I believe, is in a couple of hours. And then, of course, there's a lot more news coming out about Diddy himself. Let me know your thoughts are, guys, when it comes to this video. Do subscribe, comment down below.
They say Diddy getting thin, getting gray. Yeah, getting thin and getting gray now. Yeah, but boy, now it's stressing. He looking at forever. You know, I heard he ready to tap out. That's why Jay-Z panicking like that, making all these mistakes. You know, he don't got much time, man. Did he really give it all up?
Yeah.
Especially since Jay-Z done denied him now. Says, oh, we don't know each other? Well, cool, nigga.
The Jane Doe went on NBC.
We don't know each other.
Hello, everybody. Jay-Z's reputation is taking another major hit on this Wednesday morning. Let's talk about it. So I was not going to talk about this at all, because I think it's buffoonery. I think it's tomfoolery, and I think it is stupidity. Okay. That Alex Spiro, again, I like to hold out hope for people until they give me a reason why I can't believe them. Go watch my most recent Jay-Z videos and you'll see that that is what I do. But Alex Spiro wasn't even on the case for 2 weeks before he'd said something that basically makes me not able to trust a single word that ever comes out the man's mouth again in this case. And that was, you know, as we know, Jay-Z has been sued along with Diddy by a Jane Doe. The Jane Doe went on NBC News and did an interview. And it was just kind of like the shadow of her, like her face wasn't in there. And she did this interview with Chloe Malos, who is a known Mockingbird industry shill, in my opinion. And basically, Chloe Malos.
I mean, this lady works for the CIA right here. And she said Mockingbird. She's a plant for the government.
NBC, who was formerly at CNN, who was formerly at Hollywood Life.
Hey guys, it's Chloe with your Hollywood Life Says, and it really looked like Selena Gomez was going to break down and take Justin Bieber back, and we have all the details about their secret rendezvous in Beverly Hills. But first, in case you haven't been following all of the ever-changing drama between them, Emily, can you break it down and fill us in?
Of course I will.
She basically learned for the first time in her 10 or 15-year journalism career how to vet a source, and she did it up on this Jane Doe. Okay, so Chloe Malos wanted to be Nancy Drew. I guess she was in her That Surprise Witness era, and she wanted to vet the allegations of the person, the Jane Doe, against not against Diddy. No, nobody's ever bothered to do that. Nobody bothered to do that for Diddy. It wasn't until Jay-Z was accused of doing something that Chloe Malos wanted to go ahead and vet a source over there at NBC. So they basically tear this woman apart. I mean, it was a whole, 12 to 24 hours of just commentary and news and headlines and speculation and YouTube videos of just tearing this woman apart. And there was also some commentary videos, YouTube videos, et cetera, defending the woman and saying look, all you have to do is move the year over and it all lines up. Or, all you have to do is look at this or that. And so again, I said what I needed to say. I really wasn't trying to talk about this anymore. But then you had Alex Spiro, who was also the lawyer who got Alec Baldwin off on the manslaughter or whatever charges during the Russ trial situation. He's the one who got Alec off. And look, listen, I mean, everybody deserves the right to a zealous defense and all of that. But Alex Spiro, he did a press conference over there at the Rock Nation headquarters, and he made himself look so stupid, in my opinion, by misleading the public. I don't know if he did it on purpose. I don't know, maybe somebody lied to him, but he should have vetted before he came out and said it. He came out and told us, the public, an untrue statement. He said Diddy and Jay-Z weren't friends. No, they just industry acquaintances like anybody else, just like he would know a lawyer in his industry.
I mean, Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. If you go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case.
I hope he ain't doing the stuff with the lawyers in his industry, what Jay-Z was doing with Diddy. I really hope. But anyway, I mean, like I said, the statement was so obviously demonstrably untrue and false that people immediately started putting together compilations of proof that goes back for like 20 years.
None of these, I told y'all that nothing. They could bring, you could take Jay-Z out and replace it and put Nelly right there. You know, you could take Nelly out and put Ja Rule. You could take Jay-Z out, put Ja Rule. Diddy was the OG after Pac died, Big died, Suge got locked up. I told y'all that. I said that in the beginning of this case. All of them want to be Puffy. Nas told y'all that. They thought Dame wanted to be Puff, Jay wanted to be Big. They acted like Bad Boy. Puff had the world in his hands. He threw the parties. Jay wasn't getting no real money like that until later. Puff had it all in his hands. He threw the parties. Jay was a little, you go back and look at them early, Jay just was a little nigga around Puff in the pictures. Glad to be there. And Puff already had those cameras running in those motherfucking mansions. So when Puff was telling Jay-Z, look, I got the models up there, or whatever. You and Beyonce, yeah, go down that road, Playboy. Y'all got that. That's all y'all. He was recording all that shit. That's serious business. And Jay-Z later found that out in life. So he kept staying tied to Puff, but he knew what Puff had did to him. And Jay did the same thing to other people, low key.
Maybe 30, that Jay-Z and Diddy are way more than just friends. They've called each other family. They've called each other brothers and every other thing else. Black King gods and everything else. So no, I mean, Alex Spiro missed me with the lies. Again, I was not going to talk about it because I think it's a circus. I don't want to focus on these lies coming from these lawyers. I want to focus on the court documents. But y'all, this morning, it's like 5:45 a.m. And I'm just strolling around on the internet, definitely not minding my own business, and I see something that I had to cover. Somebody's coming out that makes Alex Spiro look even more like a pathetic liar than he already does. You know what, riding for Jay-Z. He looks more pathetic than ever after reading this story. So let me show it to you. Now, this came out last night. So it came out late. I don't know if anybody's even covered this yet, but it says, I don't know how to say this, Naughty's video vixen claims she was presented as a gift to Diddy and performed SE acts for Jay-Z to prove her worthiness. As she alleged.
Anybody ever read the book Superhead? You know that story. Anybody ever read Superhead books? You know the story that she's talking about. I don't know if she finna specifically go into it, but Superhead told a story. They presented her as a gift to Jay-Z. She went to Jay-Z. Jay-Z was sitting in the back at a video shoot, a limousine or something. She said, Jay-Z, she got in the car. Jay-Z didn't say no words to him. Took out a rubber, put a rubber on his meat, and grabbed her head and got some head in there, real quick. This was a gift to him. That's a fact. And that story been known about Irv Gotti. used to be on ecstasy, and one time Puffy called her, and she was supposed to go over there with Puffy or one of them niggas, and Irv sent her over there. And when she got back, Irv asking her all kind of questions about Puffy, what about his meat and what type of. I mean, read the book. That's what I knew. These niggas on some hanky panky. They asking sexual questions about these other rappers and what they like. And she was telling it all in that book.
Alleges how hip-hop stars passed women around the industry. Video vixen Karina Steffens, maybe it's Karine, has claimed she was presented as a gift to Sean Diddy Combs as she reflected on her time working in music videos. The American author, who goes by the name Elizabeth Ovison, published her first book, Confessions of a Video Vixen, back in 2005. Y'all, these are not new allegations.
That's what she also said, that Puffy took Exhibit from the West Coast to the gay club in Miami, and Exhibit tried to pretend like he didn't know it was a gay club. She been exposed all of that. Puffy been taking these rappers to the gay club to test their reactions. Puffy looking at Exhibit to see how Exhibit gonna react. Exhibit was reacting like it was all good, and Superhead called it out in her book.
Allegations. Why didn't anybody ever come forward before? Why didn't anybody say it until now? This lady published a book 20 years ago, which means she started probably trying to tell people before the book came out. Okay. So I don't want to hear why didn't anybody come out. Okay. Because this lady been trying to tell people since for 20 years. Were y'all listening? No, you weren't. Now, to be fair, I never heard of this book either, but you know what does come to my mind? Erica Kennedy's book, Bling, which is allegedly, supposedly fiction, but I'm starting to wonder. I mean, Erica's no longer with us, so it ain't like we could ask her. Anyway, she published this book, Elizabeth. She goes by Elizabeth, but her name's Karina. In 2005, as she opened up about being passed around by men in the music industry. The star, who is now a New York Times best-selling author, began her career as an actress and video vixen, appearing in more than 20 music videos in the hip-hop industry. And, you know, I mean, a lot of people come to my mind. I mean, I'm thinking about Kim Porter. I'm thinking about Big Joe Sherman, who apparently was carrying the big camcorder around to make music videos. And I'm wondering, you know, he's saying that this girl was paid $10,000 back in 1995 at Biggie's house to do a music video. And it's making me wonder, what is up with the music videos? Is there some uncut scenes and footage that we'll never?
She just brought up Big Joe Sherman. Big Joe Sherman is the one that was a bodyguard for Diddy. That's on the internet. I covered that story, saying all of this that Tony Buzbee is doing is at the behest of Jay Prince. Big Joe Sherman say Jay Prince is orchestrating this because Jay-Z, remember when Jay-Z snitched on them to stop Irv Gotti, Jay Prince and Death Row from doing their distribution deal because of the issue that happened with Megan Thee Stallion being took to Rock Nation. It was some beef there, but with Jay Prince behind that. Took him from the Fifth Ward homie, Carl Crawford. And then with Diddy, we all know that Diddy slapped Drake. You know, they allegedly Jay never got over that. But that's what Big Joe Sherman's saying. He has the text message from the Mexican lady before any lawsuits was filed. She had messaged him saying, "Hey, Jay Prince is with me, and we want information on." It was a crazy thing, but the man is online saying this shit. True or false?
I'll never see that got sold to billionaires. I mean, I just have questions. Maybe Karina Elizabeth could tell us. Her first book in the series, it's a series. The first book in the series details her relationships of the S nature with rappers, from Diddy to Usher to Shaquille O'Neal, as well as Jay-Z and Diddy, who are under increased scrutiny due to recent allegations. She
said the only dude in the rap business and the music industry, the white man, Bill Maher, I think that's him. I think that might be him. Whoever the dude, a comedian guy. That was her boyfriend at the time. Anyway, she said the only dude that she came across that wasn't a sucker and that wasn't trying to trick and all that stuff with her was Ice-T, who looked out for her early in her career, gave her a call, whatever, but he wasn't, you know, Ice-T was on some people, but he wasn't trying to trick on her, wasn't trying to pimp her. He tried to really help her and give her some game. If you read that Superhead book, and I read it while I was in prison, so Ice-T was the only one who had some morals and some integrity. That's crazy. Everybody else was just tricks and disrespectful and giving her as a gift to other rappers like they gave her to Jay-Z?
Allegations. Diddy, 55 years old, is currently behind bars in a Brooklyn detention center after being charged with racketeering, ST, fraud, coercion, transportation, etc., etc. Meanwhile, earlier this month, Jay-Z, also 55, they're the same age, was hit with a civil suit that claims he assaulted a 13-year-old girl on September 7th, 2000, after the MTV VMAs. So this is the lady that wrote the book. She's the video vixen. Speaking to the Daily Beast, she likened what was happening to the Me Too movement, which began in 2017, but she says it's taken a while for people to catch up and realize that the world of hip hop is just as murky as Hollywood. And I think that this is a long time coming, right? It's not just movies, it's not just TV. All these people are friends with each other, please. They go to parties together and they send each other Christmas and Hanukkah presents. Let's not be stupid. Look, she says it, quote, and this is in her interview to the Daily Mail. They all know the same people with few degrees of separation between them. They have the same handlers, go to the same parties, share each other's jets, yachts, and islands. They abide by the same lawless code. Recalling her encounter with Diddy, Karina explained she was engaged in an S relationship with American rapper and music executive Irv Gotti. At the time, he would often, quote, send her to people that he wanted to impress. She wrote in her book, whenever there was someone who Gotti wanted to impress, he would send me to them and I would, quote, take care of them. One of those people was Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. She claimed when Gotti arranged for her to go to Diddy's house one evening where she alleges they engaged in S intercourse. And that's her right there. Here's Irv Gotti and Ja Rule. And she claims this is the guy she was dating and he would send her off to people. So basically a PIMP. And look, listen, I mean, I'm not making any allegations that these people weren't singing about in their own songs. I mean, what was the pimp culture back then? From 2000 to 2010, what was all of that about? Thank God it's Friday night. Can we talk about that? Or is it okay? We could talk about that now or no? We still acting like people acting like pimps was okay. I'm a motherfucker B-I-M-P. No. Let's stop with all of that. All big pimping. No. Because apparently, I mean, that's how they was acting if these allegations are true. So she claims this was her boyfriend she was dating, or she was engaged in a relationship with him, and then she got sent to this guy's house, and then, Ja Rule had did stuff with her too. Diddy and I spent the next 15 minutes or so engaging in the usual. After the experience, he said, "You're one of the best." I said the same to him when in actuality, he was average. Oh, our encounter was pretty straightforward. Nothing out of the ordinary. Over the course of her career, she earned herself the nickname Super. And she has spoken candidly about how she would take her clothes off for money during her time as a stripper and dancer. She also recalled her S encounter with Jay-Z, as she alleged how she proved her worthiness after she appeared in his Hey Poppy music video back in 2000. Around the same time, he met Beyonce. After filming that video, the rapper invited her for a drive in his car and she accepted, explaining she felt comfortable in his company. They chatted for a while, and then the star's driver pulled over and exited the vehicle, leaving them alone together for her to perform her act on him. That's her right there. She claims in the book, after a few moments of silence, Jay-Z pulled out his downstairs, did a little bit of a rapping situation, and placed his hand on the back of her head. She said she was being a good girl, thanking Jay-Z and proving her worthiness of the kindness he had shown to let her be in the video. She said, "I was doing what I had been taught." And that's something that we're going to have to start to become open-minded to, y'all, is that this grooming type of behavior begins at very early ages, a lot of times from people's parents and a lot of times from their loved ones, their own boyfriends and stuff like that. She said, "We carried on in the car for a while and then went back to the set as if nothing happened. And every once in a while, we shared a glance and a half a smile." Karine went on to explain that the pair was never intimate again. Unlike some of the others, there were no games, no long phone conversations, and no dates. She said, "Jay-Z made no professions of love for me. Nor did he make any promises. It was all very straightforward. It was what it was, nothing more. Since that day in the car, he remained a gentleman, and it seemed as if nothing had ever happened between us. And in a way, nothing really had. So they both just kind of dissociated and did the act and then never mentioned it again until this book.
Now that's what's going to fuck all of them up if Superhead come back and hit all of them with trafficking, you know, because what Irv Gotti was doing actually is what, you know, he's sending her to people as favors, as gifts, prostituting her to different individuals. But the disgusting nature, I read the book, he's asking her about other people's sexual endeavors. What do they like to do? And she blasted his ass in that motherfucking book. Then let people know what type of sick pervert Irv Gotti was.
Mail Online contacted Jay-Z and Gotti's representatives for comment. Speaking in an interview with Vlad TV, Vladimir makes his rounds, okay? Vladimir gets around, he makes his rounds, he gets around. And I don't think it's a coincidence that his stuff ends up getting cited in court documents. Now, if you didn't do anything wrong, go ahead. Bet you Keefy D wishes he didn't do that Vlad interview. That's what I'll say. Speaking in an interview with Vladimir TV back in 2015, this lady, she insinuated that the pair realized they didn't connect sexually after the incident in the car and admitted they were no longer in contact. So she was like, I don't think, you know, I did what I was supposed to do, but I don't really think, you know, we were compatible sexually. And that was maybe why we didn't ever hook up again. She said, Jay-Z looked out for me on that first shoot. He always made sure I got the positioning I needed to get noticed. He made sure I got the pay I needed, whatever I needed. So it almost feels like she's kind of like doing a little bit of reputation rehab for him in this book. I mean, she's saying that she did do stuff with him, but she doesn't say that he is the reason for it. She says she had been taught to do that. She said he was always nice. She said she felt comfortable with him and all of that. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe it's just like in relation to all the horrible, heinous things we've heard in the last few months. This doesn't seem that bad. I don't know. Maybe they groomed me, girl. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, it does seem like she's trying to kind of soften the edges for Jay-Z. Look at that thing. Ugh. We only had one encounter that was beyond a friendship. The thing is, you're around someone so much, there's a tension and there's this thing like you want to, and you try it and then you think, oh, okay, let's just be cool. That doesn't work. That's how it ended. And I don't think I've seen him in, I don't know how many years. And this is the same year that he ended up with Beyonce, apparently. He met Beyonce, apparently. Karina also co-starred alongside Vin Diesel in the action movie A Man Apart, confessing the two also had an intimate relationship. Knowing everyone in the industry, Karina has also claimed that she embarked on a 6-month relationship with Whitney Houston's husband, Bobby Brown, during a period when he was separated from the singer. Now, Bobby Brown's bodyguard is allegedly who discovered Usher at a Star Search talent show. So Bobby Brown, he's from New Edition, but then he also went off on his own. He's very, very integrated and connected into this web situation. He keeps popping up, and his bodyguard, AJ Alexander. So she apparently dated Bobby Brown a little bit for 6 months. Speaking with Max Paul, she candidly admitted, I always say this, I was the best lover. I was the one that made them feel good. The star also had a long-running relationship with Lil Wayne, with her admitting that she would never stop seeing Lil Wayne for anyone. And even when she was with her husband, she would leave him to meet Wayne in the early hours of the morning. Girl. Jay-Z's murky past relationships have been thrust back into the spotlight after the news that the rapper has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. Weeks after the alleged incident, he went public with Beyonce, then 19 years old. Okay, so after this alleged incident happened, the Poppy music video, that's when Jay-Z went public with Beyonce at an Armani exhibition. But a photo was revealed that they actually first met in late 97, when Destiny's Child star was only 16 and Jay-Z was 28. He is 12 years older than her. Although there's no suggestion that at that time anything improper occurred. However, Beyonce was not the only teenager that Jay-Z was linked to around the same time period, with rumors continuing to this day that he had a relationship with teenage rap sensation Foxy Brown, although she has denied these claims. She began her career in the music industry in 1994 when she was 15 years old. But it's believed that it wasn't until 1995, when she was 16 or maybe just turned 17, that Jay-Z discovered Foxy and recorded the explicit rap song, Ain't No Bleep, with her. Meanwhile, from 95 to 2000, Jay-Z was also embroiled in a 5-year affair with his rap rival Nas's on-again, off-again girlfriend Carmen Bryan, which resulted in her falling pregnant, age 26. So Jay-Z got his rap rival's girlfriend pregnant. According to this Daily Mail article, girl, I mean, I wasn't there. I didn't do a pregnancy test. I don't know. I didn't do the DNA test. I didn't bring him to Mari. I don't know. I'm just reading, okay, from the Daily Mail. Jay-Z has closely guarded his relationship history prior to Beyonce, but he was also romantically linked to various women in 2000, including Rosario Dawson, R&B singer Blue Cantrell, rapper Charlie Baltimore, and video vixen, who we're talking about in this article, Karen or Karina Steffens. He was also spotted with the late singer Aaliyah, who had been victimized by R. Kelly as a minor and died in a plane crash just 1 year later. So that's pretty much it for that article. But I do just want to say, even though it seems like Karina / whatever her name is, Elizabeth, even though she does seem to be kind of like softening the edges in her book around the Jay-Z fiasco of it all, it could be he just wasn't the worst to her. I also just want to point out that the actual allegation that she is making is that she was used as a object in order to impress men in the rap industry, in the hip hop industry. And it was what she had, quote, been trained and taught to do. Okay, so just because she seems to be trying to soften the blows around Jay-Z doesn't mean that what she is actually still implying is that she was taught to do an act on a person so that she could get a job. Okay, so she also is very clear that Jay-Z encouraged the act. Again, I wasn't there. This was 2005. I was probably 14 years old. Okay, I was in Louisiana on the bayou. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I do think that it is important to look back on all the people who maybe have been trying to tell us that something's been amiss in this industry for so long, okay? And nobody's been listening to them, because all I keep hearing a lot of y'all say is, why didn't they say anything earlier? Why didn't they say anything before? Why didn't they? People did. People been saying things, all right? Now, I do think the best thing that Alex Spiro could do is recant the statement that he made publicly, because it makes him look not credible. Same thing that Mark Agnifilo is suffering with right now. Now we can't believe a word that comes out the man's mouth because you don't know what's true. There's just no conceivable way that you could possibly argue that Jay-Z and Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs are nothing more than industry acquaintances. They've called each other family. They've acted like family. And now, I mean, does it come as a surprise to me that Jay-Z, in the midst of a battle, in the midst of a storm, that Jay-Z would act like a little scared? Does it surprise me? No. But that's why I don't get scared of these people. Because really, if you turn that light to shine it right back on them, it's them who's the scared little baby rats. You've been calling this man family for the last 25 years. Family. Now y'all don't know each other? Behavior. That's all I really had for today. In the meantime, at Fact
Alex Spiro has been doing a good job causing doubt about his client Jay-Z's Jane Doe. However, his comments that Jay-Z and Diddy aren't friends, yeah, the internet's not having that, and they've brought receipts. Also, 50 Cent just dropped some hilarious new quotes, and Tony Buzbee is suing. Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddygate coverage. I am Andy Signor, and we got some big updates for you. Let's start with this one. Jay-Z and Diddy. Are they close friends, or was that a matter of fiction? Well, Alex Spiro's comments about that are definitely now blowing up in his face, because the internet has dropped receipts. Here it is. I want to play this clip of Diddy introducing Jay-Z at the 20th anniversary of Bad Boy. Listen and you tell me if they aren't close friends.
Give it up for Jay-Z, yo! Hey, yo, check this out. Oh, man. Hey, yo, Ho was doing a lot of things, man. Most importantly, you know, he had a recital that he has to be at the funeral. But he reached out to him, and I told him that this right here was important. Bad Boy celebrating 20 years of hits. And this is extended family. You've been there with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother. It's B.I.G.'s brother. Yes, sir. It's Brooklyn's own Brooklyn.
He doesn't seem to say no. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I appreciate you. He came 5,000 miles away to come here to Brooklyn to represent the B.I.G. Make some noise for home.
Yeah, yes, sir, indeed. Blew off his child's recital to be there. His strategist, whenever he has trouble, Jay-Z not denying it, but they weren't close at all. They had no long-term bond at all, according to Jay-Z's attorney. Look, none of this is a good look. In fact, 50 Cent also getting in the mix. Jay said, F that, we ain't cool. I just say hi to him at the ball game.
Anything about any allegations? I mean, Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years, just like in all professions. People know each other. At the music awards, they support each other. If you go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case.
Sure.
Mr. Carter.
Sure. He knows nothing about the allegations. I'm sure he and Beyonce aren't like looking at it like crazy, like, oh crap, what are we in for? What's happening? He's extended family. You've been there with me through my ups and downs.
Whenever I get in trouble.
Yes, sir, he said, whenever I get in trouble.
He's the one I call.
He's the one I call.
It's my strategist right here.
His strategist. I mean, this is just one of numerous clips that clearly Alex Spiro wasn't prepared for. And as good of a lawyer as he is, this looks bad, man, because it's getting all over the internet and it's going to start getting louder and louder. But yeah, sure. They didn't have a close relationship. Okay. Whatever, dude. Whatever, my dude. Meanwhile, 50 Cent showed up on this guy's, I'm a fan of him. It's called totally Flagrant. That's what it was called. Andrew Schultz's Flagrant podcast. I was trying to come up with the name of Flagrant. And commented about Beyonce and Jay-Z. They tried to get him to say more, but 50's smart. But here's a little bit they said, and I want you to catch it if you notice it.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. Mm-hmm. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. No.
Now, did you see how serious 50 was with that? Now all the hosts got to give the exaggerated podcast laugh.
Those fucking trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
You're gonna let him say that?
Let him talk. I hate over exaggerated podcast laughs.
It was He had one. Exactly. He had one. He didn't show up.
He had like 20 now. He had like 18 since he's been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
You're not wrong.
After that, he got some shit. He's like drinking. His pictures with him like fucking things.
So he's claiming marriage contract with Beyonce, which I totally believe exists. He went on to sort of continue. He never really, they even tried to push him on like, what do you think? Is Jay-Z as guilty? And he wouldn't go out and say it. But he did say something interesting.
Separation between their hardships or their, the things that they got going on, there would be issues, and what a celebrity's issues will do.
Wait, what does that mean?
They think all celebrities are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, and when you see, if I wasn't saying anything, guess what? You could safely say that a person on the outskirts that is not involved in hip-hop culture could think that everybody in hip-hop culture is with that shit.
So by you, you're good, bro.
That's great.
You're fucking good. You're protecting hip-hop.
Yeah.
If you don't speak out and make them the weirdos, then they're going to think everybody's like that.
Every single person is like that involved in hip-hop culture.
Makes you think, did Jay do it?
Shut up. He's in trouble.
Now, they keep trying to prod, and he won't chime in on Jay-Z too much. He really
to go to the premiere,
that
bro.
was planned.
Then they have asked him about the Mufasa
already.
thing.
I'm pretty bro. And I realized that later, but I'm just saying to you, I haven't seen him in a long time. That's all I'm saying. When I hadn't seen him in a long time, and then I heard this shit, and then I looked and I saw Mufasa, I said, "Whoa." That's all that fucking happened, bro. You think this is on my phone? This is happening at real time. I'm going, yo. Bro. He said, yo.
You just gotta say everyone gets these jokes, bro. That's what you.
So I liked it. He keeps it real. He's like, yeah, look, I was reacting in real time. I haven't seen Jay-Z and Beyonce. Then suddenly all these allegations come out, and then they're at the Mufasa premiere, and I'm like, this is just a bad look. What's going on? Those are the comments coming in from 50 Cent. Well said. You can check out the full podcast over on Andrew Schultz's Flagrant podcast. Now, the other story, Buzbee is suing. Now, I didn't lead with this because, one, a lot of you just don't seem to care when I focus on Buzbee or Spyro. You don't want to get in the nitty-gritty, which is frustrating, so we're going to try to keep still giving it to you, especially during the lives. But Buzbee has responded. Now, yesterday during the live, we went off, and if you missed it, check it out, because Spyro is putting together a really good case to show that Buzbee's Jane Doe against Jay-Z is full of it. So what's Buzbee's response? Well, doubling down on the previous thing that, well, they've been soliciting all my old clients. Look, I'm going to read it to you, but it honestly doesn't feel like anything. He's not responding to the Jane Doe of it all. He's not responding to the fact that he clearly didn't vet this Jane Doe at all either. And now he's just going back to the idea of, well, I'm suing them because they're going after my previous clients. And honestly, if what's true is true, and this Jane Doe is lying and Tony didn't vet it, I might go ask around and see if anybody else has this issue too. Now, they shouldn't be offering money and everything else, but Buzbee, I'm sorry, this is not the answer we were waiting for. But here's what he said. Buzbee Law Firm is filing suit against Rock Nation, lawyers Marcy Croft, Quinn, Manuel, for violation of various state laws, including variety and impersonation of a public official. The case was brought on behalf of a former client of the firm who was illegally solicited by agents working on behalf of the defendants. These agents pretended to be working for the state of Texas and offered the former client money to sue the Buzbee Law Firm. Now, he's already shown us. We reported on this. Said he had audio tape of it. And he shared this transcript. This illegal conduct has happened more than 24 times to date and has resulted in 2 utterly frivolous cases against the firm. The lawsuit filed today alleges that the defendant's conspiracy is intended to obstruct justice and prevent the Buzbee Law Firm from pursuing cases related to Diddy litigation in New York. The conduct isn't just alleged, it was caught on tape. Again, this is old news. Defendant Marcy Croft, who describes herself as a social media as part of Team Rock, is orchestrating the conspiracy along with assistance from defendant Quinn Emanuel. And you can see from the screenshot, Croft, Quinn Emanuel, and Rock Nation have a long working history. Suit alleges defendant Rock Nation is financing the illegal effort as set forth in this lawsuit. Agents acting on Croft's behalf, again, were caught on tape soliciting and offering money up to $10,000 to former clients of Buzbee to convince them to file frivolous cases against the Buzbee Law Firm. These folks have now stooped to a new low to intimidate the lawyers of the Buzbee Law Firm from doing their important work. They're now contacting clients, former clients, offering the money to sue me. This conduct was specifically targeted at our firm, so we would not pursue cases related to Diddy. Let me be clear. We will not be bullied or intimidated. The defendant's time overstepped, got sloppy. The irony of Buzbee calling somebody else sloppy is, I see it, guys. Stupidly caught in all their illegal scheme on tape. We have reported this conduct to the authorities and intend to cooperate with the authorities to ensure all prosecuted to the full extent. Now, look, if this is true, it's not good. And I wouldn't doubt that these attorneys are out there doing shenanigans. I've called it. How did Spyro get Jane Doe's information? There's definitely stuff happening. But Tony, my man, I'm sorry. You still got a lot of questions to answer. How on earth did you not vet that Jane Doe? How did you let her do that interview? Is Jay-Z actually innocent of that charge? Sorry, this is a separate issue. And to me, this just reads like a deflection, guys. I'm sorry. He's not answering any of the actual questions I need to know. He's re-bringing up the old thing that he already said out there to try to deflect. And at the end of the day, I'm much more interested in the Jane Doe, Tony Buzbee's vetting of her, and is Jay-Z innocent or guilty of it? And is he still going to be filing that claim? That's the big questions that he's still failing to deny. And yes, he's suing Rock Nation, but not about any of the stuff that actually is up for question. Now, again, if they're out there doing this, I guess this is against the law, then yeah, go for it. Do it. Prove it. To me, my problem is all these lawyers are shady. And Tony Buzbee specifically is now risking the credibility of all of these accusers that I don't believe they're all lying And that's troubling to me. That's going to not only help Jay-Z, and it should if he's innocent, it's also going to help Diddy. And it makes me wonder what's going on over at the Buzbee law firm. This deflection is not it. Yeah, he's suing Roc Nation, but over a separate issue. And it sounds like Roc Nation may have every opportunity to sue Buzbee, in which case is he just doing this to try to wipe them out and then move on? I'm sorry, I'm not going to just forget what he claimed and did against Jay-Z and Celebrity B. We need some follow-up on this, and we're going to keep on it, Buzbee. So what do you guys think?
Don't become the richest rapper ever by exercising these character traits that could be seemingly in line with integrity. Like, it's you. Yo, fuck everybody else. It's all about you, my nigga. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, reportedly, I don't know if this is true. But this is coming out of some of these Paris. Am I saying that right? Paris, news websites. By one of them ran a story saying if you Moet Hennessy has a Jay-Z problem. So LVMH, right, is the biggest brand of liquor, I believe. LVMH. It stands for Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. Okay, it owns. The brands they own are so all right. Well, first of all, it owns a lot of luxury brands. And it's okay. So this is what it owns in wines and spirits, right? Belvedere, nobody drinks that no more. Let's keep going. Hennessy, that's what I like. Dom Perignon. They haven't acquired Casamigos yet, but they own Moet Chandon, Viva Clico, whatever you call it. They own a lot of these, spirit brands that are kind of seen as upper brass and upper class. Obviously, in fashion, you know them for Kenzo, you know them for Givenchy, Fendi, Celine, Christian Dior, Emilio Pucci, right? All of these Louis Vuitton, obviously. Marc Jacob, they have a lot. They own a lot of shit. Perfumes they own, watches they own Bulgari. You know what I mean? Like Hublot they own. You get what I'm saying? And Tiffany and Company they own. So they're really, this is one of the biggest brands, and this is why Kanye was always going to war with this guy, Bernard Arnault, right? He's a chairman and CEO, okay? And and he kind of runs most of the Christian Dior stuff. Anyway, so here's the thing. So LVMH did a partnership with Roc Nation, right? They did a partnership with Roc Nation for a liquor brand. LVMH partnership Roc Nation, right? Okay, so they own 50% of what's the name of the brand again? Here we go. Okay. So it's a brand, it's called Ace of Spades, but the official name is Armand de Brunage, right? And that's a champagne. It's called Ace of Spades. That's what niggas call it. Ace of Spades, Jay-Z, right? So this is a brand that is kind of, it costs a lot, right? $300, but it's owned half by Roc Nation, Jay-Z, and conglomerate, and also by LVMH. Now, these are two powerhouses. Once again, this is showing the cross-section of how Jay-Z's power has been so intermingled and intertwined with so much what's going on. So we already talked about a casino deal. If you don't know, Roc Nation is a 50-50 partnership between Live Nation, and that's what Jay has been great at doing, right? So, I've given Dame a lot of credit, but what Jay has done is Jay has gone at the institution from within the institution. Dame he's always saying, let's go at the institution from outside. What Jay does, he partners and he works together. He partners, leverages, and keeps going up, right? So, he partners with Live Nation. After he sold Rockefeller, partners with Live Nation, then they make Roc Nation. Okay? 50-50. Live Nation owns all of the festival, owns all the ticketing shit. Also, they're down to give the money to really fund, and eventually they were trying to do Rock Nation Sports, but that was a great partnership. It puts Jay up higher with a bigger company. I told you about Live Nation, a company that's actually in court now, federal court, because it's seen as a monopoly. So that's a very big power move. Rock Nation is a power move, right? Rockefeller is a label. Like, it's like QC, it's a label. When you merge, so Rockefeller got rid of it, then you merge your brand, which people still look at as Rockefeller. You merge that with Live Nation and create Rock Nation. It's now this powerhouse that could compete on all levels, management, label-wise, and even ancillary things they were trying sports at the time. Okay. So amazing business move. Again, these are why, I'm not joking when I say I really look up to Jay business-wise. You got to fuck people over. I'm sorry. Some people get fucked over. Also, you got to partner and move as how he moves. He moves really amazing, right? The only slight hiccup, I guess, possibly would have been, and we could talk about that too, because the Bacardi deal, but the Bacardi deal, he won. He won that deal. He won that deal. And I think it was because of his willingness to not buck too much. He bucked a bit, but not too much. I think Diddy start bucking all the way at Diageo. And that's when, but again, it's always important. These liquor companies, they'll partner with you for a subsidiary. They don't ever really want you too high up. And we're going to get into some other stuff, but okay. So cool. So, that's how Rock Nation happened. So then Rock Nation is a partnership between Live Nation and Jay, right? Rock Nation. Then Rock Nation partners with a bigger conglomerate, LVMH, and they now have 50-50 with a spirit brand, which is Armand de Bernage, which is Ace of Spades. So that becomes this huge conglomerate, Jay-Z's conglomerate, Live Nation's conglomerate, then LVMH conglomerate, which is Louis Vuitton, and also Moet Hennessy. All of that combined, it just shows you, this is why I say Jay-Z is the closest black person within hip-hop by a mile to Illuminati status. It's not about money, it's about power. And this is why niggas coming at him is like, big deal, right? Like, Diddy was doing too much fucking in his 50s. He should have been doing these deals. Let's be honest, right? After the Ciroc deal, Diddy got mad. He got mad complacent. He tried to do some water shit. He tried to do some other things that just didn't pop off. But he's never been the guy. Like, he's been playing too much with the always want to be in front of the camera, jiggling and shaking. We don't see Jay-Z unless it's a Mufasa premiere. But he's always closing the biggest deals. You see Jay-Z walking with open-toe sandals on some beach in East Hampton with Jack Dorsey and other people who are founders or billionaires or on the board and shit. That's how we get shit done. It pops out maybe once a year with a verse or one concert, but the primary amount of times he's usually doing business. Diddy was throwing parties for bitches. You get what I'm saying? It just shows you the levels to it. You give a fuck about Young Miami, a bitch with glue on her fucking forehead. No disrespect. Let me bring that down, man, because somebody's gonna clip it. A chick with a fucking lace front and just twerking all day with who could barely read, and Jay-Z is walking around with billionaires. It's fucking levels to this shit. You get what I'm saying? That's why you're in jail and he's over here clapping back at niggas. Just different. It's just different. Just different. Okay? No disrespect to Young Miami. I'll still do your show, girl. Okay? We love you. We love you. All right? It's positive vibes. Anyway, so sorry. So we get that champagne company. I could probably even draw it on like a little Microsoft Word thing. What else? He had the whole deal with Douce. That was through Bacardi. So he partnered with Bacardi for Douce. Then he sold his share of it, got like $500 million. Like, let's look at that. Jay-Z, Douce sells Bacardi, right? And Bacardi paid Jay-Z, right, $750 million, okay? And they get to a lawsuit in arbitration. Well, it didn't really go to all the way to really through the courts. It went through arbitration, and essentially he settled, right? Which is obviously what they want. They don't want you to get in the press, call them racist, talk about they have racist practices, talk about how they're taking advantage of black people. Yeah. You know, and I think Jay played that really carefully, really carefully. Okay. All right. Yeah. And by the way, I think so his share was given, so it was 1.5 million. I think he split it with someone, but it was valued at 3.5 billion. Okay. Anyway. Okay, cool. So what else does Jay-Z got going on? I'm doing extreme pocket watching here too. But I want to show you the enormity of his power, right? What else Jay got going on? So I told you Jay-Z Tidal Board Square. So he sold Tidal and he's named to the board of directors, right? So Tidal, which was hemorrhaging money, off of 56 million, right? Sprint had came in, put 200 million in. Sprint invests in Tidal. Remember, Jay bought that for 56 million. Sprint invested for 200 million, correct? He took a 33% stake, and then he sold the remaining rest of the company to the majority of it. So 60% of it was because they maintained. Remember, he allocated less than 10% allegedly to the rappers. So like the Nicki Minaj's and everybody, they had less than 10. Kanye's, they had less than 10. Jay essentially owned the majority of it. Or whatever company Jay was going through. And so 297 million here mixed with the 200 million from Sprint. So 56 million he flipped to damn near 500 million. So he flipped it 10x. That boy know how to hustle. If you gotta fuck a nigga over, you gotta fuck a nigga over. It is what it is. That boy know how to hustle. I'd get in business with Jay-Z. Because if I put $5 in Jay-Z hand, he gonna bring me back 500. That's that type of nigga. That's his wave. Okay? If he gotta slime Kanye out, slime Nicki out, whoever it is, tell Drake, you know what I mean? Hey, nigga, fuck you beefing with Meek. But you know you fucked up by taking that Apple deal. You should have came over here, and Drake got to drop songs like Charged Up and all these other songs kind of hinting at it. Come on, do the math. Everything I'm saying is all factual. You're a cold motherfucker, and I like it. All right, so that's a good flip. 56 mil to 500. Good. Okay, what else Jay owns? Y'all tell me some things Jay owns. What else does he own? What else does he own? Obviously, the Rock Nation still has the label and stuff through it, but we're not going to think about music. We're thinking about his ancillary stuff to the music. We talk about the casino. He sold the Bacardi stuff. We're kind of talking about the liquor stuff still because this is where the news is coming from. And we've talked about what else? All right. Somebody said, we get the point. Thank you. I was just trying to paint the picture of why this nigga is just super powerful. He's aligned with the right people. He's in bed with Sprint, Square, Cash App, which obviously Square owns Cash App. He's at the big boys table. Diddy was at one table, and the rest of the tables he made had Young Miami and a couple other concubines. Like, this nigga was on some other shit. Diddy should have been doing this. Anyway, I digress. So, this is what they're saying now, okay? It says, is LVMH, so this is being printed in a magazine in Paris, where LVMH is based. Will LVMH let go, or are they about to let go of Jay-Z and Beyonce? While a wind of change and a rather of layoffs have been blowing through LVMH in recent weeks, it seems that it's time for the sorting. It's not only arrived for its employees, but also for the brands within the group's portfolio. If Moet Hennessy, the group's wine and spirits division, has owned 50% of Rock. Okay, well, all right. Yeah, this article is reading it wrong. They don't own Rock Nation. They have owned 50% with Rock Nation. Okay, I think this must be translated to English. I think it got to be. This got to be translated to English. That's why it's fucked up. Yeah.
Well,
a brand that Jay-Z. Yeah.
Revolutionary salute to my brother Out Abundance for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is real life. Appreciate the love, family. Salute to you.
Yeah, brand by Jay-Z that distributes his Armand. Okay. might be Rock Nation Spirits. That's what this probably is. Maybe they're missing that word. Not Rock Nation overall, but maybe Rock Nation Spirits. That's probably what it is. Anyway, which would be the brand created to distribute this, and then Moet and Hennessy own half of it. Okay, anyway. The whiskey of his wife and pop star Beyonce, this collaboration might soon come to an end. Indeed, the recent accusation of child rape against the rapper and the damage to his reputation have not been particularly appreciated by the luxury giant, which is already embroiled in various troubles and controversies. An inconvenience that could cause problems, as in addition to their respective spirit brands, the couple also serves as ambassadors. So Jay-Z and Beyonce are ambassadors for Tiffany & Co., and they never miss a Louis Vuitton fashion show and occasionally attend events with the Bernard Arnault, which is the CEO and chairman of LVMH family. Their presence within the group has reportedly become to the point of contention among members of the luxury giant, while Alexandra Arnault, the son of the Cashmere Wolf, who was recently appointed as the new deputy CEO of the wine and spirits division, which Ace of Spades would fall underneath, initiated this partnership. His colleague Jean-Jacques Guény, okay, I'm fucking it up. I don't know how to speak French like that, who sees it in a much favorable light. Indeed, he has never hidden his reluctance to associate the group and its image with celebrities, who at a moment's notice could bring it crashing down from his pedestal. So just to basically sum up what they're saying Alexandre Arnault, right, the son of Bernard Arnault, is the person who did the deal to get this liquor brand for Jay. And that person likes Jay and likes that partnership. But his colleague, okay, Jean-Jacques, doesn't like it because, and this is supposedly a real thing. And this is why Kanye was always wilding, because Kanye's, yo, I'm selling this, I'm selling that. Why? And they would always be like, yo, we don't want to work with you because at any moment you could say some crazy shit. And because you're our direct representative, you're going to F up our business. We don't want to work with you, brother. And this guy, Jean-Jacques, he's seeing it that way. And it's not only towards people like Kanye, it's just towards anybody. He's saying celebrities, it's fickle. Their reputation could be going like that. And that could affect the brand. So he sees them less favorable light. He says he's never hidden his reluctance to associate the group and its image with celebrities who at a moment's notice could bring it crashing down from its pedestal. Until a consensus is reached, investments in Armand de Bernard, dubbed Arnaud de Bernard, whatever, man. Scam of the, it's been called Scam of the Burgund by sellers, will be suspended pending a decision whether to maintain or drop charges against Jay, who still benefits from a presumption of, okay, this is a French website. Let me see if I can find a better website. Okay. So essentially Moet Hennessy's future CEO don't like doing deals with celebrities. Oh, interesting. So we kind of get the gist, but if we're reading it from a translated page, it's gonna just look weird. Yeah, that's what we just read. I think the better one to read would be this, but we can't read the full thing. Yeah. But essentially they're saying the same thing. Okay. The high-profile scandal gathers steam. The LVMH branch, soon to be ran by Jean-Jacques and Alexandra, doesn't know what to do with it's Jay-Z and Beyonce's liquor brand. Discussions are all more heated, given that Moet Hennessy's future CEO has been opposed to those brands from the outset, even though they have the support of his future number 2. Okay, so they basically rewrote this article. Okay, we kind of get it. I'm hoping, LVMH is like a really interesting brand. It feels like they don't give a fuck that their products are consumed by Black people at all, or like culture at all. Like whether it's Louis Vuitton, whether it's any of these high brands, they try to act like their brand is above some of the shit. Like, oh, ew, we're not gonna, nigga, you wearing our shit, but it's tacky or it's we don't like that. That's ghetto. We no, we're good. Like even if shit, you know what I mean? All these chicks running around claiming they want a Louis bag. You get what I'm saying? They don't give a fuck. They don't want to market to that audience at all. And actually, you know, we've heard that sometimes they rather those people not have the brand because they feel it almost devalue it. And it's usually aimed at the hip hop community, to be honest, right? Shit, Hennessy specifically, other than I think Nas has like some type of association, right? Nas has like some deal with Hennessy. Hennessy don't give nobody deals. Hennessy don't fuck with hip hop like that. So these brands don't really fuck with hip hop, but Jay and Beyonce, they're in that ilk to partner with them. And you know, obviously, we seen the NFL say we're not letting go of Jay-Z. The fuck? Like Jay-Z's done good things for us. And we would imagine that other brands would probably feel the same. Now, usually when one say they're out, everybody just leaves. But people are saying, no. And also, it's looking better because it seems like the story's capped with Jay, right? And I don't think nobody should let go of deals with him. So what it appears is that this is just an LVMH thing. I don't think they want to fuck with not just Jay-Z. They just want to fuck with people in the limelight. People who have their own individual careers and who have personas that could potentially be tainted and be a bad reflection on them. So hopefully they don't, stop funding that brand and hopefully it continues. But apparently this is something that's going to happen soon. This probably also adds to the fact that Jay-Z wants to get these cases dismissed. You want to get this case dismissed, that once it's dismissed, you could talk about it in post and say, hey, this was a false accusation and it's been dismissed. You know, in America, anybody could file a civil suit. And unfortunately, it taints your reputation, even if you're innocent and you didn't do nothing, or even if maybe you never met the person at all.
Beyonce and Jay-Z divorce announcement in 2025. It's officially gone too far. It's too much. The allegations are terrible. And her being tied to Jay-Z, like I just don't see her sticking by his side for the long run, especially right now.
Beyonce understands that she's a force to be reckoned with and that she's not going to let her empire fall for anyone. That includes her husband, Jay-Z. He's now being tied up into the Diddy case and things aren't looking good for the Carter family. Beyonce is now secretly trying to dissociate herself from her husband by going by Beyonce Knowles instead of Beyonce Knowles Carter. So let's get into it. Beyonce is one of the scariest celebrities out here because she does have a lot of power. She's built an empire. I mean, you saw all those celebrities thanking her on stage. You can't deny that she is a powerful person. Her and Jay-Z combined are really scary. And I don't think they're going to let the Diddy case take them down, but Beyonce might be putting up her safeguards because she's allegedly dropping Carter from her name, or at least she is in media reports. Now, maybe this is Beyonce recognizing that Jay-Z has been problematic. He's cheated on her in the past, so he hasn't been the best husband. And maybe now she's learning more about him with this Diddy scandal, allegedly, and she's realizing this isn't a man she wants to be aligned with. Or maybe it all comes down to money, and she's just trying to save the Beyonce empire, the Beehive. We all know her as Beyonce Knowles Carter. Even on tour, she went by Miss Carter. Yet Forbes recently reported her as Beyonce Knowles. Now, they were doing their annual report of the world's most powerful women, and Beyonce Knowles earned her spot on there. But it's interesting because prior to this announcement, this report, she's always been reported on Forbes as Beyonce Knowles Carter. So why the switch up now, especially this timing? Now, Jay-Z is going to war over these claims that he has allegedly harmed a 13-year-old girl alongside Diddy at a party after the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Of course, Diddy has denied all involvement in this case, and Jay-Z is doing the same, saying that he's nothing like Diddy. Please don't even try to put him in that category. And he's acting even more defensive, I would say, than Diddy is.
I predict a Beyonce and Jay-Z divorce announcement in 2025. It's officially gone too far. It's too much. The allegations are terrible. And her being tied to Jay-Z, like, I just don't see her sticking by his side for the long run, especially right now.
Now, Jay-Z finds himself in big trouble. I could see Beyonce pulling out and trying to disconnect herself and her children from him. Though he is being so defensive right now, I think this is going to go into a full-out war. I really don't imagine him going down. And honestly, I don't know too much about Jay-Z, but maybe he's not as bad as Diddy is. People are noticing on social media, though, writing in comments like, hey, where's your hyphened last name, Miss Carter? Another person wrote, look how she doesn't want Carter associated with her now. However, some fans rushed to Beyonce's defense, pointing out that Forbes has frequently used her maiden name in the past. This person wrote, Forbes has always gone by just Beyonce Knowles. This is not new. Well, let me stop you right there. Just this past year in September, they reported her as Beyonce Knowles Carter. So I don't quite understand. A publication doesn't just switch up how they report on someone's name. It all goes to SEO and tags and things like this. So this seems very planned, strategic, and it was purposely done to remove Carter from her last name. If just 3 months or September is like the 9th month. Yeah, three months ago, we got a report that she was Beyonce Knowles Carter. Now we've got a report that she's just Beyonce Knowles. It reminds me of Kim Kardashian West. I mean, that was a moment when she was with Kanye, but when they divorced, she went back to Kim Kardashian. Imagine this. You've been in an accident or someone you love has been seriously hurt. Suddenly you're facing a mountain of medical bills, paperwork, and insurance companies that don't want to pay what you deserve. Now, what Jay-Z is, in fact, this celebrity who was unnamed. In his response, Jay-Z categorically denied the accusations, claiming the victim is attempting to blackmail him. Jay-Z writes, my only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. Attorney Tony Buzbee, someone we've spoken about at length on his channel, is representing a bunch of victims, including this one who's now dragging Jay-Z into it. Tony Buzbee was quoted saying, Jay-Z has tried to bully and harass us over this case, but this has only emboldened us to seek justice. Now, because Jay-Z has been named in this lawsuit, his family is feeling the effects. This headline reads that Beyonce allegedly loses millions of Instagram followers amid the Jay-Z assault lawsuit. Several posts on Twitter highlighted the noticeable decline in Beyonce's Instagram followers. She had about 320 million followers at the time, and it looks like she lost about 7 million followers. It does look like it stopped there. She's sitting at 313 million followers as of Monday, December 16th, 3 p.m. in Bangkok time. Try to figure that out. The decrease in followers appear to be a reaction from fans criticizing Beyonce for remaining silent about her husband's case. Remember that this case was filed against Diddy, and then there were 2 unnamed celebrities who were mentioned but not named. Jay-Z is this other celebrity who is now being named, allegedly, and then there's another celebrity there who is a female. We don't know who this celebrity is. I personally think it could be Jennifer Lopez, because Jennifer Lopez was dating Diddy at this time. They were at the award show together. It seemed like they were fighting at some point, so maybe she did get out of there. But there are other people who think that this other celebrity, this female celebrity, could be Beyonce. This report writes, although Beyonce's follower count has gradually been declining since early 2024, there's no evidence to support the claim that this is tied to her association with Diddy. Now, a source went to the media to report that Beyonce is, quote, so upset end quote, about the lawsuit filed against her husband. Quote, his name has been pulled into the Diddy drama from the beginning, so they knew something was going to happen. They just didn't know when. Quote, Jay-Z professed to Beyonce that he's innocent and it's a total money grab, which interesting. He has to profess to Beyonce saying, I did not do this. I cannot believe it. I mean, it makes me doubt that Beyonce was this other celebrity. Looks like it's more like J-Lo. Now, remember, the day after this lawsuit was filed against Jay-Z, he stepped out with Beyonce for the world premiere of the new Disney movie, Mufasa. Of course, Blue Ivy starred in this film, so both Beyonce, Jay-Z, and her grandmother, Tina Knowles, all showed up. And it was interesting timing. I mean, we haven't heard about Jay-Z in a while, then we hear about this lawsuit, and then the next day, he's out and about acting like a normal guy. I mean, he's Jay-Z and a celebrity, so I mean, at least I'm just saying he's out on the red carpet, acting like there's no problem. A second insider told Us Weekly that Beyonce's putting on a brave face for the kids' sake. Quote, she's moving forward with her life. She's still committed to her scheduled performance in 2 weeks and will be there for her family as much as she can. She won't let this bring her image down. A third source also reveals that Beyonce believes in her husband's innocence. Quote, Beyonce does not believe a word of what they're saying, and she thinks, along with her husband, that this is an alleged extortion attempt. Now, because everybody's talking about Jay-Z and his alleged dirty past, there's some clips and some things that are now resurfacing and going viral. Like this one, Jay-Z's shocking joke to teenage Rihanna revealed in a resurfaced clip. Okay, let's get into this. Rihanna revealed that Jay-Z said that she was either going to go through the door with the deal signed or go through the window during an audition for the rapper's Def Jam label in 2005. Jay-Z's comments were under renewed scrutiny after a lawsuit was filed against him. Now, in this clip shared on Reddit, Rihanna, then 17, shared her experience meeting Jay-Z on the Tyra Banks show. She was just 17 and Jay-Z would have been 34 years old. Rihanna said, the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming. Tyra asked her, and what did he say to you? He must have said something to you, which is when he goes on to say, he said that we did not sign artists, and there was this little pause. I was nervous, and then he said, we're interested, and then there was this sudden feeling of relief. Tyra then presses her about this comment about a window or a door. Now here's a clip of this moment we've been talking about.
We don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there's this sudden feel of relief. But then he said something about a window and a door or something. Oh, then he said, he said it whole word. I did a lot of homework on you, this lady. He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal signed or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
A little bit of an awkward moment. We've got Jay-Z explaining this moment himself in an interview that we're going to react to together.
She walked into a room in her confidence and she performed in my office.
And she was what, 17 years old at that point?
She was 16.
16. And she has the confidence of it. She's like an old soul in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
So now Jay-Z is a big part of Rihanna's career and the reason she is where she is today. He really found her in, I think is she from Barbados? And signed her relatively young. She didn't grow up in her 20s and figure out who she was before becoming one of, Jay-Z's minions.
She walks in your office and what, she just belts out a tune?
Belts out of tune, she performs, and I tell her, there's no way out of this office. I signed her that day.
Not his version saying, I told her there's no way out of this office, which I know what he's saying in reference to, but also that term should never be said from a boss to an employee, a potential employee or someone younger. The power dynamic is weird. And while we're on our Jay-Z train, let's just go ahead and react to another clip where they're at an awards show and Jay-Z's energy, to me, maybe it's just me being dramatic. Okay, I get it, guys. I'm Sloan. I know who I am. I'm dramatic. But in this clip, it seems like Jay-Z's a little bit controlling. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
I know I promised you I'm going to give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank
Wait, not him hold up, humble yourself.
Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She liked to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Also so interesting to see these powerful people here. I know you guys are going to hate me. Who's this in the darker dress and who's this guy? I know that's Taylor Swift. I know that's Jay-Z and I know that's Rihanna, but school me in the comments.
LA Steve Bartles, Tata, Jay Brown, Karen Kwok for finding this amazing record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record.
I like how Rihanna had to tell him, oh, hold up. This is my moment. You go ahead and tell him. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Jay-Z's extortion claim. Following all of the Jay-Z accusations and people looking into his association with people like P. Diddy, a lot of fans have been looking into what other celebrities have been saying about Jay-Z over the years and seeing if any of it correlates with the recent lawsuit. And there have definitely been some strange happenings from Jay-Z over the past few decades. So today we're going to be looking into every celebrity who tried to warn us about Jay-Z, starting off with Dame Dash. Real quick, I do want to clarify everything in this video is like speculation from the fans, since after the recent lawsuit, everyone's been looking at him a little bit differently. Really what we're going to be looking at is things other celebs have said about Jay-Z that seem a little suspicious after what's been coming out. However, if you want the actual facts of the lawsuit, Jay-Z's extortion claims and everything along those lines, I made a whole video on that the other day, so feel free to check that out. On top of that, some new news came out where the alleged victim said she made some mistakes in recollections of that night, but also claims that she still stands on her major accusations. NBC said that they found some inconsistencies in her allegations, which I will link to down below. I mean, she even said that her dad didn't remember this happening, even though he was the one who supposedly picked her up afterwards. And then Jay-Z said in response to this, today's investigative report proves that this attorney, Buzbee, filed a false complaint against me in the pursuit of money and fame. This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. So I just wanted to include this new information because I feel like it's kind of weird and a little bit unfair that everyone talked about all the allegations when it came out, but I haven't seen anyone talking about this. Regardless, just wanted to inform you all on that, and let's continue with the video. Dame Dash was once a close friend of Jay-Z who has been saying for a very long time that he doesn't think Jay is that great of a person for a variety of reasons. The main one being Jay-Z's cutthroat business practices. When Jay was on the come up, him, Dame, and Kareem Burke created Rockefeller Records back in '94, and Dame was acting as Jay-Z's manager / business partner. Rockefeller started going crazy with Jay-Z's albums doing big numbers, his Hard Knock Life tour grossing $18 million, and then eventually signing artists like Beanie Sigel, Cameron, and of course Kanye West. But there were some issues going on behind the scenes. Rockefeller was under a label called Def Jam, and they renewed their contract with Def Jam in 2004 for $20 million. Jay, Dame, and Kareem were all planning to sell their shares of the company, and they did for millions of dollars. Then Jay told Dame to meet him in a restaurant, and according to XXL, Jay had been appointed as Def Jam's president and CEO. The remaining 50% stake in Rockefeller had been sold to Def Jam, and Dame viewed Jay's move as the ultimate betrayal. Basically, Jay-Z took over Rockefeller by becoming the CEO of Def Jam without Dame's knowledge. Dame said in regards to the incident, "Go ahead and take the money and the job, but don't take Rockefeller with you." Dame also said that Jay said it was just business. According to Dame, "We were always supposed to be about more than business, Jay especially. I did everything I possibly could so that he didn't have to raise his voice. He just had to whisper something in my ear and I'd take care of it. The people I fought with to make money for him, Lyra Cohen and Kevin Liles, he's made friends with. He hangs with Puff now. It's like if your brother leaves you." Clearly, Dame understandably felt very betrayed by this business move, and he lost millions of dollars because of it. Jay-Z also had his legendary beef with Nas back in the early 2000s around this time, and before this even happened, Nas called out Jay-Z's character saying something similar by saying, "What's sad is I love you because you're my brother. You traded your soul for riches." And Dame Dash seems to share this sentiment. But this isn't the only time that Jay-Z has been accused of some really shady business moves. In the last few years, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his very high-profile case where he allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion. But recently, he's come out filing an ethics complaint against his former lawyer, Sean Hawley, suggesting that she wasn't actually going to bat for him. And this is because she supposedly had ties to Jay-Z's Roc Nation. Roc Nation is another one of Jay-Z's many companies, and to this day, it's still owned by him. which is interesting when you hear what Tory Lanez is alleging Roc Nation did. Before all of this went down, Megan Thee Stallion signed to Jay-Z's Roc Nation. Tory Lanez was saying that his lawyer, Sean Hawley, was connected to Roc Nation. Part of this is because she loosely inspired the show Reasonable Doubt, and she was also a producer on the show. Reasonable Doubt is also the name of Jay-Z's first album. In the series, it featured the remix of Megan Thee Stallion's song Savage, which features Beyonce, who obviously is Jay-Z's wife. So Tory was basically trying to say that his lawyer's connections to the show, Meg, Beyonce, and possibly even Jay-Z and Roc Nation were impacting his case. According to Vibe, the Toronto Star also believes Hawley was acting under Roc Nation's orders when it was suggested that he accept a plea deal, which he declined. Hawley also stepped away from Tory's defense 5 days before he was found guilty. In response to Tory's claims, she said, Mr. Peterson, which is Tory's real last name, brought these meritless claims to the state bar over a year ago, and they were summarily rejected and the matter was promptly closed. His actions to publicize this failed effort are likely tied to the appeal of his criminal conviction, for which I wish him well. I have never had business ties to Roc Nation, and Roc Nation has nothing to do with the television show Reasonable Doubt, which I co-produce. Basically, Tory had this whole conspiracy theory that Jay-Z's Roc Nation, since they were partnered with Megan, was trying to get her out of this situation, and then that's where the lawyer comes in, and I guess she screwed him over. In response to this, according to Vibe, a reputable source told them nobody on Jay-Z's team or Roc Nation had anything to do with this Reasonable Doubt show. I don't know if they're conflating the fact that Jay has an album called Reasonable Doubt, and maybe that's the connection they're drawing, but nobody had anything to do with that show the lawyer was a part of. Even if they did, it has absolutely nothing to do with the case. The case doesn't involve Jay or Roc Nation. Megan was the victim, and Megan is managed by Roc Nation. It's so left field. So this is definitely a very interesting theory pertaining to Jay-Z's shady business practices, although it doesn't have much grounds. But these were not the only type of claims that people were making about Jay-Z. If we take it back to Dame, in regards to Jay-Z's involvement with Diddy and the recent allegations, Dame said, as much as he's been unfair toward, or not unfair, the way he'd be f***ing with my money, I want to hope that that's the worst that he's been doing. I would never want to hear like, Jay at the freak-off party. That's crazy. It would be such another big blow for hip-hop. Regardless of what, perception-wise, Jay-Z is also a pillar of hip-hop. And if anything bad happens to him, then it's really going to look crazy for hip-hop.
What do you think about the way they're portraying Jay right now?
You know, to be honest, I really hope, like, the things that they're saying are, like, they're terrible. Like, I'd be like, yo, it's hard for me to even think that any of those things can be true. I don't want them to be true. Like, you know, they're saying they're going to pick him up next year. I don't want to see that man go to jail.
What seems to be the most damning thing that Dame has condemned about Jay-Z was his work with R. Kelly. People believe that over the years, Jay-Z's connections to R. Kelly and P. Diddy mean that he at the very least knew about some of the stuff they were up to and possibly was even involved. On top of that, Jay-Z was also around Aaliyah and R. Kelly, who were married when Aaliyah was only 15. Jay-Z and R. Kelly had collaborated on 2 albums and even did a tour together in the early 2000s, and their close relationship has a lot of people thinking that Jay knew what R. Kelly was up to, which, if you didn't know, was multiple cases of SA. Even Nas, who, to be fair, like I said, had a huge beef with Jay-Z, said that Jay-Z knew of what R. Kelly was doing. In a 2002 interview with Wendy Williams, Nas said that there was no way that Jay-Z didn't know what was going on.
Your girl come in the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap.
Been in his cipher and seen it go down.
You seen it go down?
Yeah.
I've been around R. Kelly and I pay for that, brother. I've been on a tour with him. It didn't last too long, but I've been around him.
Plus, lately, people have been looking back at a lot of their old songs with a different lens. For example, their 2001 song, Guilty Until Proven Innocent, which now has comments like, bro was giving hints all along, and this song has new meaning. Again, pretty much all of Jay's verse on Pharrell's song Young Girl has people double taking. And on Jay and Kelly's song It Ain't Personal, Kelly says, we used to get money together, bone honeys together. Dame Dash also later dated Aaliyah when she was of age. And when talking about Jay-Z's relationship with R. Kelly, Dame said, it's morally wrong to do a project with someone that we know raped my girl or raped anybody for that matter. He also claimed that Jay-Z was trying to get with Aaliyah too.
I guess Jay was trying to get at her as well, and I didn't know. And then it got brought up, and I was like, "Fuck both of y'all." But it never worked out for them, and we were both like trying to get at her. I kind of eased up, but then we ran into each other. It's a long story.
So you and Jay was both getting at Aaliyah. Obviously,
everybody was getting at her.
Everybody was getting in the lead, bro.
Right.
So undoubtedly there was some shady stuff going down in their circle, as both Diddy and R. Kelly were friends with Jay, and it's possible Jay knew of some of the stuff that was going down. Recently, in an interview with R. Kelly's former cellmate Ronnie Bo, it was also even alleged that Jay-Z wanted to have R. Kelly killed. Apparently, Kelly had no real proof, but he insisted to Bo that Jay-Z had a price on his head. This is because of their collab album, The Best of Both Worlds, which Bo claimed Tupac was supposed to be on instead. Apparently, after Tupac was killed, Diddy wanted Biggie to be on the album, but he passed as well, which led to Jay-Z taking the spot.
And so Jay-Z was...
Revolutionary salute to our queen, Sharon G, for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is with life. She say salute, king, salute, queen. Appreciate the love.
on the rise and trying to fill in the shoes of Big and even Pac. So Jay-Z felt like if he was able to do the best of both worlds with R. Kelly did, it would put him where Big and Pac was at, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he was striving for most of his career until he felt like he had exceeded their success.
Then in 2004, Jay and Kelly teamed up with another album which they toured with. Just weeks in, when performing at Madison Square Garden, things went south. R. Kelly ran off stage out of nowhere claiming there were men pointing guns at him. And when Kelly finally made his way back towards the stage, Jay-Z's close friend pepper sprayed him. After this incident, Kelly was removed from the tour, so in response, he hit Jay-Z with a $75 million lawsuit for breach of contract. Jay-Z clapped back, countersuing Kelly for $65 million. Bo said that around this time, Kelly felt like Jay-Z was really trying to position himself to be at the top. Kelly even said he was getting death threats, which he believed came from Jay. Although I will say this is like a really unsubstantiated section, because Kelly's cellmate doesn't really have any proof. This is just things he was saying. There's no one else that corroborated this. So this little chunk here is a lot more of a fringe theory. Another person, though, who was deeply involved in the industry and seemingly was offering some insight was 50 Cent. 50 Cent also commented on this situation a few times, which at first had people thinking Jay-Z was guilty. This is because of the things he said on Instagram after Diddy got caught. Like when he said, "Anybody seen Jay?" Puff said he ain't been answering his phone. This is because around this time after Jay-Z got caught and all this new information was coming out, Jay-Z was not saying a word. After this, 50 went on some interviews speculating that the people who weren't talking about the Puff situation were only quiet because they were involved.
So you have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know
He did
you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy.
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Which, after him pointing out that Jay-Z was quiet, fans assumed that the two statements were connected. After Jay-Z was actually named in the lawsuit most recently, 50 said, "Okay, I don't know what's going on, but are we still going to have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend." And after Jay appeared alongside his family on the red carpet, shortly after the allegations came out, 50 posted saying, "Jay said, they said I a kid. Everybody get dressed. We going to see Mufasa. LOL." If that wasn't enough, he added another post, which was a AI video of Diddy and Jay getting arrested. And after posting it, 50 said, "I wanted to post this, but I'm afraid I'm going to get shot. LOL." With all of these statements from 50, a guy who's been in the industry for decades, a lot of people really thought that Jay-Z was guilty, or at least thought that that was what 50 was implying. But it seems like 50 was just joking around a little too much. This is because on an interview with Big Boy, he wished Jay's family well and spoke on the media craze.
Do you ever feel like, man, like there's just so much gotcha that goes on?
Yeah, I mean, look,
right now,
it's not. We live in a climate that it's not even what you did. It's what they said you did.
Right.
So it's like the damage is already done by the allegation itself. So if that, like when they say extortion, that means if they've made an amount big, if they talk settlement or sent settlement notices that had an amount in it, it feels like extortion.
Right.
Because you know the damage it does if it does come out public.
And in his most recent interview with Flagrant, 50 has actually been chilling on the jokes and has been pretty real about his thoughts on Jay-Z, almost pretty much defending him from the media.
When you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay, I go, oh shoot, like I think about it, I go, that had to be there. So when I was saying that he was missing, he just wasn't actively being out there because they was dealing with that.
Wait, do you think there's truth to the Jay thing? There's no way.
Like that, look, like if you say, I have this thing where I'm conflicted when it takes you 20 years to remember something happened to you.
Yeah.
50's original issues with Jay trace back to a record-selling battle between 50 and Kanye, who obviously was Jay-Z's artist, and 50 said if he lost, he'd retire. Eventually, he ended up losing and going back on his word, but 50 later claimed that Jay-Z had influenced the results in an attempt to retire him. There have been some subtle jabs here and there. For example, with Jay-Z allegedly trying to keep 50 out of the Super Bowl halftime show.
You've been insinuating Jay-Z a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you've been saying people gonna come for him a little bit.
No,
You've been
I thought he would do funky stuff like the Super Bowl. Like it was not okay for me to be at the Super Bowl.
Oh, he tried to cut that.
Yeah, he didn't want me to. Well, they worked to make like there was an issue with me in the NFL that doesn't exist.
So
then,
he did the corporate way of trying to keep you down. Oh, it's not me, it's them.
It's them. And then when M says he's not gonna do it if I'm not there,
let's go.
Yeah.
But until now, it's been mostly light. And another person who has made some claims and backed up this idea against Jay-Z is Lord Jamar. Lord Jamar is a rapper, DJ, actor, podcaster, and is generally involved in the music industry. Jamar said in an interview with the Art of the Dialogue podcast before Jay-Z was named in a lawsuit that he thought Jay-Z's silence after the Diddy stuff coupled with how young Beyonce was when they got together was strange.
Yeah, you're right about that. 50 going at Diddy hard, man. But how you feel about the people that saying Jay-Z is next?
Yeah, but I have been hearing that a lot. You know, I'm not gonna lie. When certain people get to a certain level of fame, I don't know why, but you start to hear little about certain people sometimes. And I don't know how many people are really exempt from it. Have I heard little shit about Jay-Z? Yup. But then, if we be real with ourselves, it was kind of abnormal when he got with Beyonce. Like, she was pretty young when he got with her. There's rumors that he was messing with Foxy Brown when she was pretty young. So there's a lot of those rumors around.
Jamar didn't make it seem like Jay was 100% guilty of the things he's been accused of or the current lawsuit against him or any of that, but he was given some leeway to the rumors. And that's what most of this stuff about Jay is. It's just rumors and speculation from the fans. I think the most damning thing that they have against Jay-Z is the fact that he was pretty close with R. Kelly and Diddy back when they were allegedly doing all this stuff. I mean, even Nas said that there's no way that Jay didn't know what was going on, but maybe he wasn't involved. Maybe he was just turning a blind eye to the terrible things they were doing, which isn't much better, but there really isn't any way to know until the courts dive deeper in their investigations. Dame Dash seems to be one of the main guys calling out and supporting a lot of these theories, and he also said that Cat Williams was really looking like a fortune teller, Jaguar right and all. Why are the people that are looked at to be imbalanced are saying these things and they're all happening? And if you want to hear me go deeper into these so-called prophets like Jaguar Wright and Cat Williams and all the things that they've been saying, make sure to check out the video that's on screen right now.
One second.
Ooh, the pressure is getting worse. And everybody thought that you thought was friend and some foes are now lining up to be witnesses, y'all. If you guys don't know, Brendan, Diddy's former rug mule, has completed his diversion program. He is now a free man. But baby, the streets are saying we will see Brendan very, very shortly because he is one of the people testifying against Diddy. If you guys don't know, in Little Rod's lawsuit, they said it was lies. They said Diddy, here's the funny thing. They said it was lies. They said Diddy didn't do Tucci, didn't have somebody carrying a little happy sack or whatever you call it, fanny pack, with his rugs around. They said that all this stuff that we know now is 100% true. They said it was all lies, innuendo, the ravings of a madman, Little Rod, who was mad he couldn't shake Diddy down for $50,000, right? Well, now cut to a year later, and everybody knows that Diddy is a raving lunatic that was allowed to grape and pillage villages with a band of loyal helpers. Okay, right? So anyway, Brandon was the one that when they got raided, they found the happy sack with that mess on him. Okay? Again, Diddy was probably mad that weekend. Ooh, they took his weekend stash. Anyway, right? So Brendan got arrested and he got federal charges. Now, some people are like, he said, don't you know that's nothing but a minor charge. He gonna be out. And I said, do you honestly think that the feds have you on charges that could potentially send you away for at least 3 to 4 years, and you are literally someone that can testify against your crime boss in a RICO case, and you really think they put in that mug in a diversion program? Please. Anyway, Brendan was put in a diversion program, and a lot of people say that he is snitching. He will testify against Diddy. Of course he will. If the feds put anybody on that stand, they gonna testify. The only person foolish enough not to, my money, is on Kalina, because we saw her on that interview. Then again, Kalina might tell the truth too. Maybe that's why she was looking so wobbly on that interview. She needed a little help to get on to get through the testimony that Diddy probably pre-wrote. Anyway, let's talk about Brendan. Brendan is out of his diversion program. Let's let you know the feds are probably very, 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 very happy with Brendan. Y'all, listen. Congratulations, Brendan, for doing your time. Let's take a look at what they are talking about. 1 second. Okay, this is directly from the Hollywood Reporter, who, by the way, is doing their thing. Shout out to Kevin Dolik. He said, Sean Diddy Combs' alleged rug mule sees charges in the airport bus dropped. Maybe if they dropped charges, that means he gave them something good, something they could feel. Baby, listen, they said Brendan Paul, whose arrest earlier this year called further attention to the rap mogul's lifestyle, completed a diversion program designed for first-time offenders. They said all charges filed against the former Syracuse University basketball player and associate of Sean Diddy Combs, who was accused of running rugs for the mogul, were dismissed on Tuesday after he completed a pre-trial diversion program. Baby, this was listen, this is how the feds helped him for snitching on Diddy. It's a pre-trial diversion, so you never have to go to trial. You won't have anything guilty on your record. I think they might even move your record so it doesn't even say that you got arrested. Brendan Paul was arrested March 25th at the Miami Opa-locka, I don't know, executive airport, after authorities discovered narcos in his luggage. He was arrested on felony charges of possession of suspected coca and possession of suspected marijuana candy. Let's also not forget that Little Rod in his lawsuit said that Diddy loved the coca-laced marijuana candy, right? I wonder if they had any pink Coca-Cola in there anyway. They said Mr. Paul's case was formally dismissed today in its entirety. Prosecutors were initially only pursuing the coca charge, but as part of a plea deal, again, plea deal typically offered to first-time drug offenders. Again, I know it's typically offered, but not when your boss is a RICO kingpin. On top of that, he had to offer something to get out, okay? Brendan Paul began a 6-month pretrial diversion program. On Tuesday, the former Orange Man completed the course. Florida court records indicate that all the requirements Brendan Paul needed to complete have been met. Brendan, can we know what those requirements are? I know Diddy is sick. I know Diddy is upset. First, Jay-Z said he don't know him, right? And on top of this, the man that was literally at every party, because remember how Little Rod said that Brendan was in charge of making sure that Diddy had what he needed and made sure that Diddy was in the zone the whole time? That means Brendan was probably sitting there disgusted funk in the air, right? Just sitting there disgusted, watching Diddy's booty walk by. Diddy look like he just be walking around like with nothing on but some like crew socks, right? And you just gotta sit there and like watch it. I know. And the thing is, Brendan used to be a successful basketball player, but Diddy promised him that he could be a producer, and he ain't turned into nothing but his rug mule. Keep it literally dropping edible gummies because Diddy's feeling yummy in Diddy's mouth, like he's literally watching all the disgustingness go down. Now get this. The Hollywood Reporter also points out the amended version of the civil lawsuit filed in New York Federal District Court by Little Rod. He was referred to by Diddy as the mule. Now, as Diddy and everybody else associated with that case moves forward, let's also not forget the way they tried to destroy Little Rod and say that it was all lies. You don't got a rug mule. They even tried to tell us that Diddy didn't even use rugs. Y'all remember that? Listen. The complaint is filed with lurid details from Rodney Jones's 18 months spent alongside Diddy, and launched wild speculation around Diddy's lifestyle and secret freak-out parties. We now see his complaint states that Brendan procured, transported, and distributed ecstasy, coca, GHB, Special K, Mary Jane, mushrooms, and Tucci by packing these substances in their carry-on luggage and going through TSA. The civil suit also said that Brendan Paul was required to carry Diddy's firearm on their person whenever they went out. And is that his new Cassie? And that he was also tasked with producing blank workers for the now jailed rapper. That was Little Rod had to get Smex workers, negotiating their rates and ensuring they were paid by Diddy. His arrest in March came the same day authorities searched Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami. He was arrested on September 16th and was charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and Smex trafficking. He is currently being held. Y'all, you know what? What y'all think? Y'all think Brendan snitched? Of course he snitched. And as well he should have. Why would you take the rap and the bail for Diddy, where all he did was just operate like a real life gin and tell you that he was going to make you a star, and meanwhile you rocking around looking at him with some crew socks while he telling you to put some edible gummies in his mouth because he feeling yummy. Again, the things Brendan had to see, deal with, probably even participate with. Again, Brendan come from a good family with lots of money. I'm just saying. So listen, Brendan gave the prosecution something. I know that Diddy is worried about what he said. I know what he thinks he saw Brendan see, but the fact that him and Brendan, and they said that Diddy was on Tucci for years and didn't really know what was going on and all this stuff. Yeah, listen. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is the worst week ever for Diddy. We're going to be going live.
Drug mule for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is no longer facing any charges after he was arrested for narcotics possession. And this comes as the lawsuit he's mentioned in gets some major updates. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Brendan Paul, we haven't talked about him in a while. This is the man who's accused in a lawsuit of being a sort of drug concierge for rapper and music executive Sean Diddy Combs. Well, turns out he will not face any jail time for allegedly being caught at a Florida airport with cocaine. No, you see, I should tell you though, he is also wrapped up in a bombshell civil lawsuit against Sean Combs. That hasn't gone away. And this is a lawsuit that accuses multiple people of trafficking, drugs, and sex workers. But right now, talking about Sean Combs, He is in a Brooklyn detention center after a grand jury for the Southern District of New York indicted him on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He's been denied bail multiple times. He will be staying in that detention center, by all accounts, sitting there for the holidays and New Year's. His trial is currently scheduled for May of 2025. But now let's talk about Brendan Paul. So we first learned about him in a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of Rodney Little Rod Jones. This is a music producer who says he basically lived with Sean Combs for a year while the two had worked on his latest album together. Now, Jones says that he also spent a lot of time with Brendan Paul, who he basically accused of being, as I said, a drug mule. And this lawsuit, aside from the multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit that was filed by Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, this was one of the first big red flags that indicated something big was on the horizon, because it included all sorts of allegations of illegal activity on a much grander scale. The lengths that Sean Combs and his staff allegedly went to in order to fulfill the record label CEO's desires. I mean, Rodney Jones brought up allegations about racketeering, this racketeering criminal enterprise. But back to Brendan Paul. Who is he? Well, he's apparently this Ohio native. He was a star basketball player at Syracuse and Fairmont State Universities. This is before he actually got involved in music production during the pandemic. But I will tell you, it's unclear how exactly he got linked up with Sean Combs, or maybe got linked up with him. I'll say he has been named, and photos of him have been included in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. Now, he's accused of carrying all sorts of drugs with him at all times for Sean Combs, and is also accused, by the way, of being involved in paying sex workers. Jones filed his lawsuit in February, and then he filed an amended complaint offering more details in March. And by the way, March was an important month in this case because that is when Combs' two mansions, one in Miami, the other in Los Angeles, were raided by federal authorities. Homeland Security investigators were seen at the properties carrying boxes of evidence out of those homes. Combs was not at either house during the raids, and there was concern at one point that he might have fled the country, but he was spotted later that day in Miami. Now, Combs wasn't arrested at that time. He wasn't charged with anything at that time, but it was clear that federal investigators were looking into his conduct, and there could be very serious legal action on the way. We were all saying for months, is it possible he's going to be indicted, and when would he be indicted? And then just 2 days later, 2 days after the raids, on March 27th, Brendan Paul was arrested at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport. He was allegedly trying to board Sean Combs' private jet. According to an arrest affidavit, authorities caught him with cocaine and marijuana. Now, state attorneys decided to only prosecute Paul for the cocaine possession, and they offered the now 26-year-old the deal. If he completed a drug diversion program, the possession charge would be dropped. It's an option that's often given to first-time offenders. Now, we actually got more information about that earlier this year when we spoke with Melba Pearson, former Miami-Dade County prosecutor. Here's what she had to say.
But since he did not have anything in his past, he didn't have a criminal history, he was offered what was called diversion. And what that does is that it gives you the opportunity for participation in a program for 6 months. If you don't get arrested again, if you complete the program, so it could be drug therapy, it could be counseling, it could be community service, it could be any of a number of things, it just could be a fine. You comply, you do all of that, and then after 6 months, the charges get dropped against you, meaning that you don't have anything on your criminal record in terms of a conviction. The rest will still be on your record. You'll have to disclose that if you're, let's say you do a job application and they ask whether or not you've been arrested, you have to answer yes. But if they ask you if you've been convicted, you can check no, which is, again, a huge thing in terms of collateral consequences and being able to move forward with your life after interaction with the criminal justice system.
Hey, by the way, as you know, we have been trying to cover every aspect of this Diddy story as it develops. And for that, I have to thank our incredible sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, because it's with their support that we're able to produce these episodes. Now, here's the deal about Morgan & Morgan. If you're injured, America's largest injury law firm, maybe who you want in your corner. I mean, Morgan & Morgan has a Tuesday. This is 9 months after he was arrested. Paul had his final charge dropped. According to court records, he he completed the pretrial diversion program that I mentioned, which included a drug substance abuse course. Now, the court website shows that the 2 original charges, they were felonies. That means potential jail time. Possession of cocaine, possession of a controlled substance, but no action was taken on the controlled substance charge, as I mentioned. And the disposition for the cocaine charge is listed as nolle prosequi. You know what? I haven't said that term since law school. Hopefully I said it correctly. A lot of people just say nolle pros, but it means that the prosecutor decided not to pursue charges. So the record indicates that Paul successfully finished that pretrial intervention, and that would be the conclusion of his case as of now. But now I want to talk about some of the accusations against Brendan Paul that are laid out in Jones' civil complaint, because here's the truth. We don't know if Brendan Paul will somehow be connected to Sean Combs' criminal case. To be clear, though, when it comes to this, Paul is not named as one of the defendants that Jones is suing, but his alleged boss, Christina Coram, sure is. According to Jones, Paul reported to Coram. This was Combs' alleged chief of staff, and she has been described in this lawsuit as a Ghislaine Maxwell type to Sean Combs. Maxwell, of course, is the woman convicted of trafficking young girls on behalf of her boss or associate or friend or boyfriend, I don't even know what you want to say, Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Coram was reportedly Combs' right-hand woman and had several direct reports, including Brendan Paul. This is according to the lawsuit. So the amended complaint reads, as the chief of staff, defendant Coram was instrumental in organizing and executing the RICO and TVPA enterprises. Now, RICO, of course, stands for Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, basically an allegation that Combs Enterprises, his businesses, really a criminal organization, and that its employees and associates were committing criminal acts in furtherance of that criminal organization. TVPA is the Trafficking Victims Protection Act that was passed in 2000 to combat human trafficking. The suit continues. Defendant Coram had the following individuals execute the following tasks for the RICO and TVPA enterprises. Stevie J recruits sex workers and attends and participates in freak-offs. Justin Combs solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers, would engage in freak-offs. And Justin Combs is, of course, Diddy's son. He's also named as one of the defendants in this complaint. But it continues. Brendan Paul works as Mr. Combs' mule. He acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns. Frankie Santella works alongside Brendan. While Brendan acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns, Frankie carries the money and pays for the guns and drugs. And a footnote actually indicates that Frankie Santella was vice president of music management and strategic partnerships for Combs Global. But Paul is also named as one of the people who allegedly worked out fees with sex workers and made sure they got paid. And when it came to drugs, the complaint says there was a lot of them. Members of the enterprise and their associates procured, transported, and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, mushrooms, and 2C by packing these substances in their carry-on luggage and going through TSA. Now, we have told you before about 2C. It's also known as pink cocaine. It is a party drug that has surged in popularity here in the United States. It's actually not just cocaine, but usually is a mix of different psychoactive drugs. Researchers say, though, its pink color is just for aesthetics. It's just for looks. But going back to the complaint, it continues. Plaintiff Jones personally witnessed members of the enterprise do this during national and international travel as detailed below. Brendan Paul on December 22nd, 2022, from Miami, Florida to St. Bartholomew. Brendan Paul and Christina Coram on April 28th, 2023, from Los Angeles to New York City to Virginia and back to LA. Brendan Paul on November 4th, 2023, from Los Angeles, California to London, England. And then there's this footnote that says that Paul was seen packing cocaine into his carry-on luggage in Combs' garage the evening before that flight to London. The lawsuit also says that Paul was also required to have drugs on him all the time. It says, quote, the following is a screenshot of a video taken on Mr. Combs' yacht on or about December 25th, 2022 at 2:40 a.m. Brendan Paul is videotaped with one of the black pouches defending Combs and Christina Coram required the associates and members of the Combs RICO enterprise to carry. This pouch was filled with ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, mushrooms, and 2C. So a lot of serious allegations packed into this lawsuit. But again, Paul is not named as one of the civil defendants, and his drug case in Miami is now basically over. But of course, civil allegations are very different than criminal allegations, but there is an overlap between what prosecutors are alleging and what is being alleged in Jones' lawsuit. And I will say, since prosecutors have alleged that during these freak-off sessions, there has been rampant drug use, and these are those prolonged, coerced sexual performances involving sex workers, you have to wonder whether or not Brendan Paul is somebody prosecutors have spoken to, plan to call as a witness, whether or not his name will even come up during the course of this criminal case. We shall see. But going back to this Jones lawsuit, we actually have an update for you on this. So a new order came down from the judge overseeing this case and gave a partial win to Jones and also a partial win to the defendants. It's a bit complicated. It's a little complex, but here's the basics. So when Rodney Jones' lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn, filed this original lawsuit in February, he named multiple defendants, including executives with record labels like Universal Music Group and Motown Records. And he alleged that those executives knew what Combs was up to and just let it happen. Well, Blackburn filed paperwork to voluntarily dismiss the defendant, Ethiopia Habtemariam, this is chief executive of Motown, and then later moved to dismiss all the claims against the music executive, saying, based on his examination of all the papers submitted in support of both motions to dismiss, he has concluded that there is no legal basis for the claims and allegations that were made against the UMG defendants. So those record executives wanted Blackburn sanctioned for basically wasting their time, allegedly acting in bad faith. However, U.S. District Judge J. Paul Oetken released an order that explained why he didn't believe Blackburn acted inappropriately, saying he acknowledged his errors once presented with the facts from the defendants. In conclusion, he wrote, for the foregoing reasons, the UMG defendant's motion for sanctions is denied. Plaintiff's motion to voluntarily dismiss all claims in the second amended complaint against Grange, Motown Records, and UMG is granted, and those claims are dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can't be refiled again. And look, I have to say, I'm not necessarily surprised that sanctions weren't granted here. Sanctions, generally speaking, are rare. You are talking about really egregious bad behavior on the part of lawyers. You're talking about filing for an improper purpose, like to harass people, or really frivolous arguments that there's no support in law and fact. It doesn't seem, based on the judge's assessment, that this reached that level. But now I will say, now that these defendants have been dropped from the suit, who remains? Well, the four remaining defendants are Sean Combs, his son, Justin Dior Combs, Christina Coram, and actor Cuba Gooding Jr., who Jones claims sexually assaulted him on a yacht that Combs had rented. We're going to keep monitoring this case, see where it leads, see if it connects more back to Sean Combs' criminal case. And speaking of that, Sean Combs himself was actually in federal court today in New York for his criminal case. His attorneys, the prosecution, and the judge all got updates on the case's progress. But actually, Law and Crime's Elizabeth Milner was inside the courtroom since there are unfortunately no cameras allowed.
It was a lot of just discovery material, which isn't the most fun topic to really talk about, if we're being honest here a little bit. So a lot of things was just turning over evidence, what time frame that evidence will be turned in. And so from what, so the government says that they're on track to produce the discovery by the end of the year, meaning December 31st. You know, they say the investigation is still ongoing. They said that they pulled all the text messages from Combs as well as victim one in this case. And then they're kind of proceeding as quickly as possible when it comes to that superseding indictment. So the government was trying to make it clear that, you know, they're still in the process of doing the investigation. It still seems like the superseding indictment is still lingering on in the case. But it was also interesting, too, because you know, we have covered a number of stories about kind of the response from the defense side and kind of talking with the prosecution here. But I noticed whenever I was inside that courtroom that there was a lot of like chumminess going on. There was a lot of laughs, a little bit of giggles coming from Mark Agnifilo talking with the prosecutors right before the hearing had started. So they seemed, you know, you wouldn't think that they're in this kind of, you know, fiery battle or anything about the case. They seem pretty chummy. They seem very cordial. And they both sides seem to have respected each other in terms of turning over that evidence, making sure that every deadline is hit and that type of sort. Now, there was a pending motion that the judge did bring up that, you know, at the time, Judge Submaranian did mention that he wanted to keep, he was possibly thinking about denying that motion, but instead what he did was the prosecution, or excuse me, the defense time, or excuse me, a lot of music kind of going on here in the background. But what the defense says is that their preference was to keep that motion open, so that way, you know, the judge wouldn't dismiss it with a little bit of prejudice, which means that they could have refiled the motion, but you know that didn't happen. The defense kind of appeared that they just wanted the motion to stay open, see what would happen with all of that. But you know, it seems like we will not be seeing any bit of Diddy until March, when the next hearing is going. But it seems like they're all kind of going along with the timeline. It seems that they appear to be ready to get started on May 5th, pending whatever goes on with the potential superseding indictment, which again, I just want to stress to our viewers, that has not been issued at this time. But it seems as though, you know, they're on track for a May 5th trial date. But again, also, you know, with this time frame given, that's 5 months, meaning 5 more months that Diddy is still behind bars until we kind of see how this entire trial plays out. But for the most part, that's what I gathered from this really quick hearing.
As for Sean Combs, as I mentioned, he's scheduled to go to trial next year on May 5th, 2025. And until then, he's going to stay behind bars. Judge Subramanian was the latest judge to deny Combs' request for bail, despite offering an enormous $50 million bail package. Prosecution said there's evidence that Combs is trying to influence witnesses from inside the MDC, Metropolitan Detention Center. At the very least, he was breaking the rules. And what I mean by he's breaking the rules, he was involved in jail phone calls, like using other inmates' information to make calls or conducting three-way phone calls. That's a big no-no in the MDC. And the judge was persuaded by the prosecution that Sean Combs should not be entitled to pretrial release. We, of course, though, are going to continue to follow all things Combs closely and bring you all the latest updates right here on Sidebar. What were the big takeaways?
His pretrial hearing, federal prosecutors are saying that they were on track to disclose all of the available evidence to the defense by the end of the year. Well, Diddy has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn following his arrest in September in a federal sex trafficking case. Last week, Combs abandoned what was his 4th attempt to get released on bail. Joining me for more on this is ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky. So, Aaron, I know you just essentially left that courtroom. So what do we know about today's hearing?
Well, the prosecutors said they would disclose every piece of evidence that's in their possession by the end of the year. So by December 31st, the defense should have everything. And then the case is going to move toward trial in the spring of next year. Before that, the defense says it wants some clarity from the prosecutors about the scope of Combs's alleged criminal conduct, because right now, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said the racketeering allegations that Combs faces, the defense believes are a little vague. Beyond that, Kana, the trial set for May 5th is on. And if there are going to be any additional charges, prosecutors today did not tip their hand, only telling the judge that any additional charges that are brought would not involve a lot of discovery, meaning there wouldn't be a lot of additional evidence that the defense would have to go through. So in the prosecutor's view, there would be no delay, even if Diddy ends up facing additional charges.
Okay, and do we know anything more about these latest allegations, right, from these 3 male accusers?
Oh, this was in a civil case filed, a week or two ago when these 3 men alleged that in separate incidents between 2019 and 2022 that Combs sexually assaulted them. One took place at allegedly Diddy's home in East Hampton, New York, out on Long Island. The others occurred in different hotel rooms. But the premise was the same, according to the men's complaints. They were brought to see Combs for one reason or other, whether it was a party. One guy worked for him and apparently was owed money. They were offered drinks that the men believe were spiked with some kind of drug. They got woozy, passed out, and when they woke up, they say that Combs was sexually assaulting them. Combs denies all of those allegations. He has called the men liars, and he says he has not sexually assaulted anyone.
All right, Aaron Katersky, thank you.
If your name is Sean Diddy Combs, the prosecutors have just given you your early Christmas present, and baby, it's looking like a pocket full of coal. Y'all, what am I talking about? Diddy just got the worst news ever. The prosecution has announced two things. Oh, you know that speedy trial you wanted? You know the one you was fighting for? You know the one you thought you were going to use as a strategic weapon? Just hurry up and then we won't have time to thoroughly investigate. Well, guess what, baby? The feds announced, oh, baby, we're going to give you what you asked for, but not what you wanted. You getting that speedy trial. They announced, Your Honor, we will be able to make that May 5th trial date. But guess what? There are new superseding indictments pretty much guaranteed. And don't worry. It's going to be light evidence. He won't have to investigate that much. Y'all, Diddy is scrambling. His team is scrambling. This is it. This is over. Diddy ain't never getting out. But the question is, whose name is on those superseding indictments? Let's not forget the co-defendants. The co-conspirators will be named. And in light of everything going on in the news, baby, yeah, let's get into this. This is directly from Deadline and the head prosecutor, Damian Williams. Damian Williams literally said this on his way out. I think he resigns. Actually, did he resign yesterday? When was Damian Williams? It don't matter. Let's get into this. Sean Diddy Combs could face new indictment from feds in Smeck's trafficking criminal case. Also, y'all hit the like button. We are trying to start a revolution. Tisa tells we are going to give blogging a good name in 2025. Let's get into this. Looking at life in prison, if found guilty in his Smeck's trafficking criminal trial, the much accused, that's a good term, Sean Diddy Combs may be facing even more charges. Prosecutors just said today. Baby, they was also pissed that Diddy dragged them into court on some nonsense. Diddy has been playing in their faces, and they said, oh, baby, we'll show you how to do it because we are the original pop locking in people's faces. In a brief hearing before federal judge Arun Sabrahimian over a variety of discovery issues, Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson told the court that she could not say much about the Fed's ongoing investigation, remarking that the government had no plans to alter the set trial date. However, they did note any additional charges will have little discovery information. While prosecutors in the recently resigned Damian Williams run office have suggested further indictments could be coming, the almost casual way a superseding indictment was brought up today indicates that more charges are almost certain. Well, duh, and we've been saying that for a while. Baby, new charges weren't a threat. They were a promise. Otherwise noting that technology is fickle, Emily Johnson, the U.S. attorney, promised the government would get more material to the defense as quickly as possible. She did say that all material and communications between Victim 1 and Diddy has already been delivered to the rapper's legal team. Yo, and this is the thing. So if you guys don't know, Mark Agnifilo has an interesting legal angle. He's requesting a speedy trial because he thinks the quicker he makes the government move, the less time they'll have to investigate because, they have to deliver a superseding indictment. But the government has hired more prosecutors and they are getting things up to terms. What's more, the interesting thing about that is, Diddy, what are you going to do about your co-defendants? I mean, think about it. Are you going to have to pay all your co-defendants' legal bills? Because if they represent themselves and they separate themselves from you, then that means that the case has to slow down because they have to take time to go to discover and get themselves ready.
which means Diddy will be in jail even longer. It's an interesting proposition, unless Diddy pays everybody legal bills. But if he pays everybody's legal bills, that means everybody will probably go down with him. Anyway, they said Diddy was arrested on September 16th September 16th in New York City. Now, interestingly enough, when he was arrested, everybody thought he would make bail. Through Diddy's own pride, arrogance, foolhardiness, and sheer evil nature of harassing and witness obstruction, at least in my opinion, and the federal government's, he's resigned to be in jail for the longest. Listen, the trial is set to start May 5th. He has been for all sessions in the case. Diddy was in the courtroom Wednesday and had a brief greeting conversation with the judge before the 19-minute hearing began. Unlike past hearings, Diddy's mother was not present, but several of his children were. Did Janice give up on him? With the next hearing in the toxic matter scheduled for March 17th, Diddy is going to stay locked down in the harsh MDC for at least 3 more months. The government alleges that Diddy and his aides coerced women and men into marathon sexual encounters called freak-offs with male prostitutes, and that women were rugged, threatened with violence, and physically barred from leaving hotel rooms where freak-offs were staged and videotaped. I don't think that's a stretch, because even that guy from the Meek Mill's freak-off house, because I think he threw Meek Mill's a freak-off for his birthday, said Diddy demanded all the locks in each room be changed to lock from the inside and the outside, and Diddy was the one that actually held the key. They said they were staged and videotaped. Among the dozens of civil cases filed, he's, going after minors. Anyway, Diddy's denied all charges. Y'all know that. They said the Bad Boys founder has officially given up on bail after 3 failed bids for pre-trial release, including an offer to put up $50 million bond and confine himself to Manhattan rented apartment with private security guards as monitors. But his lawyers are waging an aggressive defense on his behalf, attacking the government's case as tainted, among other things, and prejudicial leak of footage aired on CNN. However, you guys know that the judge just slapped all that down. They said the feds did not leak to CNN. You lied about that emergency hearing. Nobody took your legal notes. And on top of that, you were tampering and witness obstruction. Again, the prosecutors and investigators in the case have signed sworn statements to the judge saying they haven't leaked information. The judge basically said on Monday that they said that you're basically going on a fishing expedition. You have no proof outside of, I thought. Diddy is watching the internet and making his case off of that, which shows that he has no case. On top of that, let me just say this. Diddy, he's in jail because of his own stuff. And I don't even mean that. I mean the fact that he literally was, all his antics is what got him in jail and kept him in jail. Again, it's really, really weird. I will say this, right? Diddy's facing dozens and dozens of civil suits. The prosecution is coming down on him. We need to actually just keep in mind that really what's going to be telling is who the co-defendants are. Because if the co-defendants come and Diddy's not paying their legal fees and they get their own counsel, that means that this trial might not start until October or November of next year. And that means that Diddy might be sitting in jail for years before he even gets convicted. Baby, I don't know, but I gotta say something. We'd love to see it. Couldn't happen to us.
Kofi, follow me.